Hello, 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 everybody. Hello. I think I'm just gonna switch directly to the game today. Oh, hi, hello, it's me, Raiwek. I am Raiwek. It's nice to see you all. Hey Ash, hey Pichu, salut les amants. Hope you're all doing well. J'espère que vous allez tous bien. Oh, big stretch. Big stretch. Ooh, that felt good. That felt good. Hi. Hi. That's my best Kirby expression right there. Hi. For you. Again, I saw a Discord notification. Oh, it's just me going live. Today, let me stop the music right now. Today we will be listening to the latest episode of This American Life, number 600. Oh wait, this is not the latest, no. But we are listening to one from 2018. So let's see, February 2018. What's happening in February 2018? February 2018 notable world events. Let's see. We've got apparently the Super Bowl of the Olympics. There's a military parade happening in Pyongyang, North Korea. What? Let's see. Oh, hey! The Canadian Senate agreed with the House of Commons to make the Canadian national anthem, "O Canada," gender neutral. Hooray! So instead of all thy sons command, it became in all of us. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let's see what else happened. The Vatican and China are getting along for some reason. All right, cool. Bunch of school shootings in the U.S. Yeah, that's not new. 2018, there was a space flight happening. NASA confirms that Scott Tilley, a Canadian astronomer and satellite tracker, has rediscovered NASA's Image satellite. Wow, that was just February 1st. Oh, okay. Like, can I just get the big stuff? My goodness. There's Brexit negotiations. Let's see. What else is happening? Oh, the FIFA corruption scandal. Yep, that started out. What else? Yeah, that's about it. Why are these trials in here? Yeah, lots of sports stuff. A couple of deaths that I don't know about. I don't know any of these people. A couple of conflicts. Yeah, everything's going well apparently in the world of 2018. Anyway, today's episode is called Rom-Com, and I thought, like, aw, this is nice and non-political. This is a perfect episode. So I wanted something non-political today. So I'm just gonna pin that. Yeah, episode. Like that. Actually, let's customize it. Let's put it for like 60 minutes, because that's probably just the length of the episode. There we go. Yeah, rom-com. Pin after 60 minutes. Time must be 30 seconds and 30 minutes. Well, fine. I'll manually unpin it then. Yeah, I figured rom-com would be nice and cutesy. It'll be nice. So I'm going to do some power wash. Just relax. And we'll listen to that. It does start with a short intro, like promoting This American Life's like off-stream stuff because they need more funding. So it does have a longer ad at the beginning, but I want to listen to it because I need that. I haven't heard information about it much, so I want to listen to that too.
In a bonus episode just for our This American Life partners,
ladies and gentlemen, Ira Glass!
We found a recording of Ira's first and only stand-up comedy set.
Did we travel back in time?
And honestly, it's great.
They do not advertise hiking properly at all.
To hear the whole thing and all the other bonus episodes we've been releasing every 2 weeks, and more than anything, help us continue to make the show, Subscribe at thisamericanlife.org/lifepartners. That link is also in the show notes.
Thank you all so much for having me here.
A quick warning, there are curse words that are unbeeped in today's episode of the show. If you prefer a beeped version, you can find that at our website, thisamericanlife.org.
If it's too loud, just let me know.
It's This American Life from WBEZ Chicago. I'm Ira Glass. And here at our radio show, we were talking about romantic comedies and how they don't get a lot of respect. I think it's maybe because the bad ones, every part of them just feels too obvious, you know? The couple meets, but they hate each other at first. They go through some things that make them, learn some important lesson about themselves. You know from the very beginning they're going to end up together, and then no surprise they do. When it's not done well, it's all too obvious and tired, and you can feel the gears working in the thing. One of the producers on our show, Neil, he wholeheartedly really loves romantic comedies, has favorites that he's watched over and over dozens of times. He once collaborated with the producer of Sleepless in Seattle on a rom-com script that never got made. He has all kinds of thoughts about them. And he realized this thing about rom-coms, and what's so satisfying about the good ones, that I really think is true.
I used to say that it was just watching like close-ups of two beautiful people being funny and clever and witty to each other.
Yeah.
Being their sort of best selves, or sometimes worse selves, but then eventually their best selves. And that was kind of enough for me.
Now, why shut me out? You know what happens to people who shut everybody out?
They lead quiet, peaceful lives?
No, they fester.
That's Meg Ryan and Kevin Kline with a fake French accent in the movie French Kiss.
Fester. I am festering.
Inside, fester and rot. I've seen it happen. You'll become one of those hunched-back, lonely old men sitting in the corner of a crowded cafe, mumbling to yourself, "My ass is twitching. Your people make my ass twitch."
Hey, Beep. How you doing?
If there's a simple thing that resonates for me, it's that in the best of these movies, you get to see two people get along in a way that is great.
It's just like nice to see that part of people.
Yeah, Lucy just popped in.
And I think it's also,
Thanks
I
to
think
you.
if you're projecting it all, it's the idea that you can like be that connected to someone or receive someone that well. When you see it, you're like, oh yeah, that would be nice. That's why I like the ones where people spend a lot of time together.
That's key for Neil. In Neil's personal ranking of these films, which has the 2009 film The Ugly Truth at the very, very bottom, the three rom-coms that sit at the very top, like the tousled hair
Libby.
above Hugh Grant's head,
Hey, Mike, about.
are French Kiss, 2 Weeks Notice, which is a real estate rom-com, and his very favorite, lots of people's favorite, When Harry Met Sally. And they're all at the top of the list for this very reason, because of how much time the couple spends together talking. Take When Harry Met Sally.
The thing that I like about it is that at least you
Okay.
get a vision of what their relationship actually is, because they spend 12 years together before they finally get together. So you get to see real fights, you get to see their relationship grow, you get to see their personalities clash, and so they actually have a chance to fall in love by talking to each other, as opposed to in romantic comedies now, or like where there's a montage of music playing and then you're just supposed to come out of that thinking they're in love. They actually spend time with each other. Like there's a sequence of scenes in When Harry Met Sally where they're just getting along and they're just talking on the phone.
Hello?
You sleeping?
No, I was watching Casablanca.
Channel, please.
11.
Thank you. Got it. Now you're telling me you would be happy with Victor Laszlo than with Humphrey Bogart?
When did I say that?
When we drove to New York.
I never said that. I would never have said that.
All right, fine. Have it your way. Have you been sleeping?
Why?
Because I haven't been sleeping.
I think if I was dating someone who hated When Harry Met Sally, I don't know that I could date them. Like, I don't know that I could. Like, if you're not interested in, like, the relationship between Harry and Sally, I don't really understand what kind of person you are. I don't know.
Wow.
It's not to say that you're a bad person. It just means I don't think I understand you.
Okay. Romantic comedies are contrived. People are way more clever and way better looking in real life.
Yep.
The stories are full of things that would be ridiculous and sometimes maybe even on the stalkery side, if they happen to any of us. But this totally artificial form, when it works, reminds you of what it feels like to be in love. And of somebody who wants to listen to what you say and who says things that you want to listen to. And so, today, we're devoting our whole show to rom-coms. Today's episode, by the way, is a rerun We thought we would bring it back today because, frankly, we all wanted a break from the news and the current events. It was a good time for an hour of fun. In each of our acts today, we found a story that reminds us of some aspect of a movie rom-com. And yes, we did go on a search for stories of people running, sprinting down the street in real life in an urgent rush to tell someone that they love them. Stay with us.
Here.
Every week on the Moth Podcast, real people tell their stories live on stage.
I've heard it said that words are medicine.
The Moth
We
Podcast is
choose
also
every
really good, by
day
the way.
To be good or bad medicine to each other.
There's something special about hearing someone talk about their life. Something intimate, something vulnerable, something that creates a connection. To find that connection, follow and listen to The Moth on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's This American Life. Act 1, meet cute. So the first thing a rom-com needs is for the couple to meet in an appealing way. The meet cute.
The meet cute is supposed to make you feel like no matter what happens, these two people should be together.
There are so many ways to do this. In The Wedding Planner, Matthew McConaughey saves Jennifer Lopez from a runaway dumpster that is rolling down the street. The Pretty Woman, Richard Gere gets lost in a very fancy car, and Julia Roberts gives him directions. Bringing Up Baby, Katharine Hepburn picks up Cary Grant's golf ball on a golf course. Reality Bites, Winona Ryder throws her cigarette into Ben Stiller's car. And Neil's favorite, When Harry Met Sally.
The thing about When Harry Met Sally is it has an extended meet cute, which I like. They take a road trip from Chicago to New York, and so they're kind of meeting for several hours. And from the very beginning, it's contentious because Harry has all these theories about relationships that she finds like crazy and off-putting.
What I'm saying is, and this is not a come on in any way, shape, or form, is that men and women can't be friends because the sex part always gets in the way.
That's not true. I have a number of men
Tapos
friends
que ele
and
tem
there's
são
no
pois
sex
usifica.
involved.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You only think you do.
You're saying I'm having sex with these men without my knowledge?
No, what I'm saying is they all want to have sex with you.
They do not.
Do too.
They do not.
Do too.
I think it sets up the chemistry. Like, it sets up that there's something about them that you want to root for.
Meet cutes do happen in real life, but for this first story in today's show, we have a piece of fiction. A story where the meet cute plays an important role in the story as a turning point for one of the characters. The story is by Simon Rich, the actor Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe.
I don't understand, Professor Xander Kaplan said while his girlfriend sobbed into a pillow. I thought you liked tulips. I do, she said. It's just, you get them for me every year. It's starting to get a little impersonal. I mean, this time you didn't even include a card. Xander winced. Her reasoning was sound. I apologize, he said. I obviously made an error in judgment. He tried to take her hand, but she pulled it out of reach. Do you remember what I did for your birthday? She said. I got you that new Bunsen burner you wanted. I knit you a pair of wool socks so your feet wouldn't get cold in the lab. You never make that kind of effort for me. All you do is think about yourself. That's incorrect, Xander said. What about emalladium? It took me 9 months to synthesize that element, and I named it after you. You were going to synthesize that element anyway, Emily said. You needed it for your secret project, that silver orb thing in your lab. Emalladium wasn't about me. It was about you. I mean, for God's sake, you won't even tell me what it does. Xander sighed. Is there anything I can do to make it up to you? Emily blinked back some tears. I don't know. I mean, it's not like you can just go back in time and get me a different present. Xander's expression brightened. Wait there, he said. I'll be right back. Xander hurried down the hall, crept into his laboratory, and locked the door behind him. His time machine was right where he had left it. He climbed inside the silver orb and flicked on the power switch. His plan was simple. Travel back in time to this morning, find a new gift for Emily, and bring it to the present. But there were a couple of risks. There was a chance, for example, that using the machine would cause the universe to explode. He'd never tested the thing out before. there was also no guarantee that he would be able to find a good present. He only had enough emeladium to fuel 5 minutes of time travel. That didn't give him a lot of wiggle room. Wherever he went, he would have to shop efficiently. Xander was usually a pretty good problem solver. He had, for example, invented a time machine. But quantum physics and nuclear hydraulics were trivial compared to the rigors of gift shopping. He massaged his temples, trying to remember if Emily had dropped any hints lately. He vaguely recalled her staring at a vase in Crate and Barrel, but that place was full of vases. There was no way he'd be able to pick out the right one. He was trying to remember the name of her favorite perfume when a thought entered his head. Maybe he was thinking too small. His machine could transport him to any time and place in human history. Why go back a few hours when he could go back a few centuries? He knew Emily loved Shakespeare. She'd written her senior thesis on one of his tragedies. Why not travel back to the Globe Theatre and swipe her an original script? It wouldn't be too difficult, he reasoned. All he'd have to do was dash backstage and grab one. It would be the most impressive gift she'd ever received in her life. But which tragedy had Emily written her thesis about? He knew it was one of the king ones, Richard the something or Charles the something. But there were a bunch of those. What if he got it wrong? It was too risky. There was always jewelry. He knew the general construction dates for King Tut's tomb. He could park in front of the pyramid, run inside, and snatch a jade stone. He entered the coordinates and was about to push the lever when he started to second-guess himself again. Buying women jewelry was always chancy. Emily had very specific tastes. And what if she didn't like jade? It wasn't like he'd be able to go back and return it. He thought back to the night they met. He was finishing his PhD at the time, and his lab had closed early because of Easter. He'd stuffed his papers into his briefcase and shuffled through the rain to the 116th Street station. It was 4:05 a.m. and the platform was deserted, except for Emily. It had been several days since Xander's last conversation with a human, and when she started to speak to him, he felt the stirrings of a panic attack. But Emily's friendly smile managed somehow to put him at ease. She was awfully cheerful, given her circumstances. Her Metro card had expired, she said, and the machines were broken. She'd been stranded for over 20 minutes. Would he be willing to sell her a ride? Xander nodded and watched as she rooted around in her purse for some cash to pay him back. It was a moment or two before it occurred to him that she had given him the chance to be gallant. You don't have to reimburse me, he said. I'll swipe you in for free. She thanked him enthusiastically and then, shockingly, wrapped her arms around his torso. Xander wasn't used to physical contact, and although the hug was brief, it caused his entire body to tingle from head to toe. It was a startling sensation, like walking through an electrically charged field. He still felt that way whenever she touched him. Xander was an atheist and believed fiercely in random causality. But by the end of their shared subway ride, he was sure he'd experienced a miracle. This wonderful person had shown up out of nowhere and given him a chance at love. And in return, he'd given her 3 years of misery. He thought about all of his Saturday nights at the lab, ignoring her calls, making excuses. He thought about the way she cried when he handed her the tulips. How could he make up for 3 years of romantic ineptitude with a single birthday present? He closed his eyes and concentrated. There had to be a right answer. Cleopatra's crown. Joan of Arc's sword. A baby dinosaur. What was the greatest thing he could give her? The very best present in the world. It was the hardest problem he'd ever attempted to solve. But then, as always, the solution came to him. Xander parked his time machine by the 116th Street station and dashed into the subway. It was 3:45 a.m., a little over 3 years in the past. Emily was standing by the turnstile, swiping and re-swiping her expired Metro card. He took a deep breath and approached her. "Let me guess," he said. "Expired Metro card." She chuckled. "How'd you know?" "I had a hunch. Come on, I'll swipe you through." "Oh, that's okay," she said. I'll just go to the machine upstairs, or the machines are all broken, he said. You better catch this one, he said. The next one won't come for another 20 minutes. Before she could protest, he took out his Metro card and swiped her through the turnstile. She smiled back at him with confusion. Aren't you coming? She asked as the train pulled into the station. Xander averted his eyes. He worried that if he looked at her, he would start to cry. I need to take a different train, he said. Well, at least let me pay you for that. That's all right, he said, his voice breaking. It's a present. He was about to turn away when she leaned over the turnstile and hugged him. It was exactly as he remembered it, her long brown hair brushing softly against his neck, his entire body tingling with warmth. Thanks, she said. He tried to say you're welcome, but the words got caught in his throat. He waved goodbye as she boarded the train. Then he marched out of the station alone.
Well, that's sad.
Daniel Radcliffe, reading the short story The Present by Simon Rich. Rich's latest book is called Glory Days. Radcliffe also starred in Rich's TV show Miracle Workers for 4 seasons.
Miracle Workers was really good.
Act 2, The Obstacle.
The main body of most romantic comedies is there's something or a group of things keeping them apart. There's always obstacles that are keeping these two people who are fated to be together apart.
The obstacles can be big or little. Tom Hanks isn't over his dead ex-wife in Sleepless in Seattle. In Notting Hill, Guy falls in love with somebody who's too famous for him. In Bridget Jones, she's going after the wrong guy, which of course is Pride and Prejudice, and I don't know, so many films. It's one of the most common. And When Harry Met Sally, they each are involved with other people for a lot of the film. But the real obstacle is that they're friends, which in this film has a special meaning because, if you remember, when Harry met Sally on that car ride originally, he told her that he didn't think that men and women could ever just be friends. So this is new for him. Billy Crystal has a scene in the film with a sidekick character, a best friend, played by Bruno Kirby. We're going to talk about this.
I don't understand this relationship.
What do you mean?
You enjoy being with her?
Yeah.
You find her attractive?
Yeah.
And you're not sleeping with her?
No.
You're afraid to let yourself be happy.
Why can't you give me credit for this? This is a big thing for me. I never had a relationship with a woman that didn't involve sex. I feel like I'm growing.
We went out looking for a real-life couple facing some obstacles that kept them being together, and that's not actually very hard to find. But one of our producers, Elna Baker, heard about a couple where the obstacle that confronted them once the relationship got going was pretty unusual. It was a couple one of her friends was in years ago. Quick warning to everybody who's listening to this podcast version of our show. There are some words that we have unbeeped in this and other stories in the program. If you don't want to hear that, maybe you're listening with kids, you can get a beeped version at our website, thisamericanlife.org. Anyway, here's Elna.
My friend Michelle Buteau is one of the most audacious, ballsy people I know, and she brings this attitude into all aspects of her life, including relationships. This is a story about her and her boyfriend. It starts in the 90s, when she was 18, going to college, living in Miami, and, as college students do, she adopted a new, cool persona for herself, one that wore dark lipstick, cargo pants, and danced in reggae clubs every weekend.
I loved dancing. Like, I wanted to be a fly girl on In Living Color. I definitely would have been like Snoop Dogg's, like, video hoe if I had the chance.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I was out one night at a teeny bopper club, and that's where I saw him. I remember the smoke machine was working. It felt like we were at a bar mitzvah somewhere in Jersey. And literally when the smoke cleared, I'm like, who is that tall boy with the khakis on and the big gold chain and the curly hair? How do I talk to him? And I kind of just sort of like inched my way over to him on the dance floor. I remember like doing this move where we both sort of like roll into each other's body, and I can like get a whiff of his Jacquard Noir, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. And like my heart was beating so fast I could hear it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is what love is. I feel like a Puerto Rican Molly Ringwald.
A Puerto Rican Molly Ringwald.
Like in any good first encounter, there were magical coincidences.
We were walking out to the parking lot, and we realized we both had the same car. Mazda proteges, both leased by her moms.
Was that a moment where you're like, this is fate? I mean, not only did I go to this club.
Oh, definitely. I'm like, what? Like, out of all the cars in the world, out of all the dance clubs, you and me.
He was 18 too, but he seemed really grown up.
He worked at Best Buy, selling DVDs, and he was also a drug dealer. And in my mind, I was like, oh my God, he's so cool. He's so good at math. Like, he counts so quickly.
In case you're thinking, drug dealer, red flag, he was barely a drug dealer. He dealt weed. Nearly every woman I know has dated a weed dealer. They quickly got serious, and he was Michelle's first big relationship. He was funny, smart, they had good banter, and he was this incredibly accepting person. Made her feel comfortable, confident about her body and about sex, which she'd never really felt before. She imagined a real future with him.
The plan was, I mean, looking back on it, it seems so basic, but just to be with each other and to have fun and to have kids and to go out to dinner after a movie on a Friday night, you know, Olive Garden, Cheesecake Factory, just kind of exist in a really cute apartment with beige carpet and white blinds. Yeah, the American dream.
Fast forward 3 years into the relationship. Their lives are totally entwined. Their families are close, they vacation together. It was that point of no return place in a relationship where you're just like, here it is. This is it. But there was this one thing that seemed sort of off. A lack of photographic evidence. No pictures of himself as a kid. Specifically, no school pictures. No prom picture. Even his mom didn't have any shots of him. It was just weird. And then, one night,
I had a dream that he called me up. He told me that he never graduated high school. And when I called him the next day and I was like, I had this crazy dream, he just started crying. I could just hear him gently sobbing, and he's like, not only did I not graduate high school, I don't even know how to read. I'm just like, how? Like, I thought I knew you. Like, what? Like, haven't we read something together?
their entire relationship flashed before her eyes, one moment after another. Suddenly, it all made sense.
And I was going back, you know, I realized, like, oh my God, this is why we go to the same restaurant.
Because
we
he
would
knows
go
what
to
to
the
order.
same restaurant, and he'd order the same thing because he couldn't read the menu. And
Oh, wow.
he liked to go to restaurants that had pictures of the food. You know, I would write him poems and stuff, and he's like, read them to me. You know, it's better when I hear it from you. And never want to go through his mail. I had to help him.
When you stop and think about it, the fact that he'd been able to navigate the world convincingly
Pretty
and
impressive.
keep this from Michelle for over 3 years, it was an incredible feat. He must have been covering this up constantly.
Hey, Rev Carl, how you
When
doing?
he told me why
You want to say
he
hello?
didn't know how to
Hello.
read, it just made my heart break even more. I mean,
I hope
his
you have a
dad
lovely day.
Died when he was young, and so his mom had to work 3 jobs, and he was depressed and just dropped out of the 5th grade, and nobody ever noticed. His mom didn't want to deal with it, and you know, I'm not judging because it must have been so hard for her. The only thing that kept going through my mind, I remember, was I want to save you, I want to help you, I want to make this better. You know, we're going to get back on track to what we had planned.
She was not going to allow this obstacle to push them apart. She jumped into action. This was before you could Google everything. So Michelle went to the library and did research on adult literacy. She broke it down into manageable steps and wrote out a timeline for him.
My game plan for him was I had a list of places he could go to night school, a therapist he could talk to, easy adult reading books, tips and tricks. It was like a whole sort of like care package of like how to just take it on. And he was like really overwhelmed.
All good. Rewind a bit.
Reading it.
So Michelle went to the library and did research on adult literacy. She broke it down into manageable steps and wrote out a timeline for him.
My game plan for him was I had a list of places he could go to night school, a therapist he could talk to, easy adult reading books, tips and tricks. It was like a whole sort of like care package of like how to just take it on. And he was like really overwhelmed by it. And I was like, okay, this is a really big deal. I get it.
Michelle's dyslexic, and her boyfriend didn't have a learning disability. But still, she could empathize with how hard it can be to read. And at first, Michelle's boyfriend was totally on board with the plan. But after a year of Michelle offering him solutions, he still hadn't taken any action. It just seemed like he didn't want to. He got around the world just fine without reading. She started realizing, oh, wait, his illiteracy was a way bigger problem for her than it was for him. And it really started pushing them apart.
I stopped being his girlfriend and sort of became his coach or his mom, and it wasn't fun for either one of us. I tried every tactic. I was patient, I was nice, I was stern, and then I like kind of backed off. I'm like, whatever he needs to do on his own time.
It started to bleed its way into every moment they shared together. Like she could never fully relax anymore. Even when they were happy, she'd snap herself out of it and think, wait, no. We're forgetting that there's this huge looming problem, and we've got to fix it before everything can be okay.
Why?
She started to resent him.
We don't even laugh anymore. We're not even like holding hands like we used to. We're not even having sex like we used to, simply because you're not even going to this class. Like if he just went to a class, I would just be so happy.
Did you feel like if you love me, you will learn to read?
Absolutely. I mean, is that weird? But I totally felt like that. I was like, who's gonna read books to our kids at night? Like, you gotta get it together. This was like the vein of my existence. I was like, and I couldn't really talk to anyone about it because how embarrassing. Because I didn't want to.
For you.
I didn't want my friends to think less of him, you know, and I wanted him to still feel like a man. So I just kind of like carried this by myself. And at some point I just looked at myself and I was like, you got to go. But even then it was just like, how do I leave somebody when they're down?
Well, in a sense, it actually like it made the relationship last longer because everything became about him reading. And so if you could just crack that or fix that, then maybe it would work out.
Oh my God, what are you, Dr. Phil with tits? Yeah, I mean, I feel like I always live like that. If I could just lose those 20 pounds, if I could just have a clean house all the time, I could do everything I really want to do on my list. And so, yeah, there was that. You know, if we could just get past this, then we'll, you know, live the life we're supposed to live.
That's the promise of an obstacle. You feel like all you have to do is conquer it, and you get your happy ending. How would it play out in a rom-com?
The obstacle being his illiteracy?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Boom. He learns how to read. He writes like a New York bestseller like situation. It becomes a movie. Channing Tatum plays him. Lisa Bonet plays me. And we live happily ever after with like a bunch of mixed children in a huge apartment with beige carpet by the Cheesecake Factory.
Amazing. See, I was imagining that he would like greet you at the airport with like a sign that he had handwritten himself that was like, Michelle, I can read now.
Oh my God.
And then you'd see it and you'd start crying. And you'd be like, oh. And he's worked so hard behind your back, secretly going to night school the whole time. Oh.
I know. Instead, he just like fucked a stripper.
But where'd that come from?
Okay, she wasn't a stripper, but she was sleeping with Michelle's boyfriend. Michelle suspects that the entire time she was struggling to get him to read, he was cheating on her. She was so focused on the obstacles she thought they were facing, she totally missed it. Of course, as rom-coms go, the thing missing from this story is calm. At least until Michelle started doing stand-up and figured out how to tell it on stage. When did you decide, like, this story's funny, I'm going to put it in my act? Like, because it's actually, like, really sad, but...
Yeah, you know, most of the first joke I ever wrote was about him.
Will you tell it to me?
Sure. It's lines at Disney World remind me of my ex-boyfriend. 3 hours of waiting for a 2-minute ride. Ayo. But the story, I didn't feel comfortable doing it on stage till 13 years later.
And I stayed with him, but then it got like real ratchet. Like we would get into arguments and I'd say shit like, but you said you learned how to read from me. Like, that's not how you want your first relationship to be.
In her act, she even talks about how great it feels to tell this story on stage.
But it just felt so good. It was so cathartic. I was like, yes, I got to get this out. And I just started doing jokes about him and blogging about him. And my friends are like, you got to be careful because you're using his first and last name. And I was like, bitch, I don't give a fuck because that motherfucker can't read.
You don't understand why that's
All right,
funny?
good night, everybody. I got to go.
The literacy one? I don't know. It felt like so much more her problem than his. And it's like, if you love me, you'll change? No, it felt weird. It is an obstacle. But if she didn't even notice about it until 3 years later, he's been handling it correctly. The obstacles would be like, okay, she wants to try a new restaurant. That's fine. But okay, fine. She would have to read the menu. But that's her wanting to try a new restaurant. He was perfectly content with what it was. I'm trying to see it from her point of view. Like, okay, the not being able to read to your children. Well, they don't have kids yet, for one. I don't even know if he wanted kids. Like, it's never explicitly said. Yeah. It's so odd. So odd.
I was waiting for a 2-minute ride. Ayo. But the story, I didn't feel comfortable doing it on stage till 13 years later.
And I stayed with him, but then it got like real ratchet. Like we would get into arguments and I'd say shit like, but you said you learned how to read from me. Like, that's not how you want your first relationship to be.
In her act, she even talks about how great it feels to tell this story on stage.
Now she's making fun of him.
So good. It was so cathartic. I was like, yes, I got to get this out. And I just started doing jokes about him and blogging about him. And my friends are like, you got to be careful because you're using his first and last name. And I was like, bitch, I don't give a fuck because that motherfucker can't read. All right, good night, everybody. I got to go.
Eleanor Baker was a longtime producer on our show. Michelle Buteau is the author of Survivor: The Thickest. Second season is streaming on Netflix. She's going on tour this fall. You can find out more at michellebuteau.org. Coming up, a real-life rom-com that involves Shakespeare, real kisses that are like stage kisses, and the police. That's in a minute from Chicago Public Radio when our program continues. This is American Life. I'm Ira Glass. Today's program, rom-com. Stories mostly taken from real life that mimic things that we have seen in romantic comedies. We've arrived at Act 3 of our show. Act 3, The Run. This, of course, in a romantic comedy is the scene where somebody has to cross town at some point, literally sprinting to chase down the person they love and stop them from either marrying somebody else or winning them back somehow. It doesn't always end up at the airport, but lots of these do. And honestly, I have to say, I was surprised we found this ever happened in real life. But here is one story like that. Marissa Cohen's dad used to like to tell this story. It was about his own marriage. He died a couple years ago. His name is Ron. The story goes like this. When he was getting together with Marissa's mom, Debbie, drove across the country to move in with Ron in Florida. And before she left, she had the post office forward her mail to his house in Florida. And he saw a letter arrive from her ex-fiancé.
I think it's crazy, but my dad decided that he saw that letter and he had to read it.
This is Marissa.
So he just opened the letter, read the whole thing, and as my dad put it, my mom's ex-fiancé was declaring, like, his undying love for her and was, like, begging her not to go and was saying he wants to get back together with her. And my dad freaked out.
He decided this is it. It's now or never. He decides he's going to meet her in Dallas, which is where she is on her car trip, and also is where the ex-fiancé lives. He hurries to the airport.
The way he told it was he was going through the airport, running through the Florida airport, gets a ring out of a little, like, gumball machine, puts, like, however much that costs, like a quarter or whatever, in the gumball machine, pulls out a Mickey Mouse ring, because it's Florida, naturally, gets on the plane, flies and meets my mom in Dallas, and right there in the airport, gets down on one knee the second he sees her.
I had no plans of seeing the ex-fiancé at all, whatsoever.
This is Marissa's mom, Debbie. She had no idea the ex-fiancé had written a letter or that Ron had opened it. All she knew was that he had offered to drive the rest of the way across the country with her and was going to meet her in the Dallas airport.
He gets off the plane, and I greet him, and practically the very next thing out of his mouth is, "Will you marry me?" And he opens up his hand, and in his hand he's got this little Mickey Mouse ring in his hand. And I am not proud of my reaction at all. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
My reaction was, "Are you crazy? This is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. I barely know you." That was my reaction.
I have to say, that is my favorite part of the story.
I could have been a little more gentle.
No, what I love about it is that in the movies, when somebody does a gesture like that, like, often it's way crazier than what he did.
Yes.
And kind of stalkerish. But the movie just acts like, oh, that was a totally
I know,
lovely
right?
thing for a person to do because true love will out. And I like that you had the normal human reaction that a normal person would have would be like, are you nuts?
Right. Yeah, well, I'm too pragmatic to fall for that one, I guess.
True love eventually did win out, though. At their wedding, in addition to a regular ring, she also wore the Mickey Mouse one.
Huge. Much better.
There was another story we heard about somebody running to win love, which actually kind of paralleled the run that happens at the end of Neil's favorite rom-com, When Harry Met Sally. And When Harry Met Sally, the way it goes is that it's New Year's Eve. Harry's wandering around the streets of New York, and he realizes that he loves Sally, has to tell her now, breaks into a run to go tell her.
It's very New York-centric in this one because he's like tries to catch a cab, and of course he can't. So then he's just going to run the entire distance.
David Kestenbaum has our real-life version of this story about a guy named Steve Snyder.
The thought that someone actually made one of these runs in real life seemed so unlikely to me that I wanted to see where it had happened, retrace the steps of it. So I met Steve where the run began, at this burger place on Ludlow Street in New York City. Steve is the kind of guy who is not very good at hiding his feelings. Like, if this were a movie, you could title it Say Everything. The setup to the run is this. He'd met this woman, Emily, at a birthday party. He was totally smitten.
What I remember is the party kind of turned into sort of a tunnel vision moment. All I really did was talk to her.
It didn't go great. He kept asking her, "You want to go to a movie? Maybe we could hang out sometime."
If there's a trajectory of my life, it's going from clingy to a little less clingy.
Steve emailed her after the party. Nothing came of it. A year passes, and just like in When Harry Met Sally, they meet a second time. In Steve and Emily's case, it's at the very same birthday party, same apartment, and they become friends. It was the kind of friendship where, really, it could go either way. She seemed kind of interested in something more, but maybe not enough. And the longer they were friends, it was like, well, maybe that's what they were. Steve had a job as a film critic, so they would go to movies, lots of movies, where they would not hold hands and not kiss.
There is a pathetic moment. So Lincoln Center Station, we're waiting for the train. It's like some crazy 20-minute wait where the words actually come out of my mouth. You know, hey, if you ever want a film critic as a boyfriend, you just let me know. I think we were talking about, it fit into the context of the conversation somehow, but I can't think of anything more pathetic. Totally.
A little, but
What
that's
was her
okay.
reaction?
She just kind of laughed and was like, yeah, okay.
The run happened on a night where they were not going to hang out. Steve thinks he was working on a review of some Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. And after work, he goes out with some friends to a music place.
Music's so loud, and it's kind of fun. You know, it's a great night, and we're dancing. I actually started dancing for once. We leave the place. We're going to go get some greasy food because we're hungry and we haven't eaten. And I have my bag and everything. So we walk into the burger joint.
The place we are sitting in right now. Greasy spoon, tiled white walls, and painted brick. It's like a piece of a subway station that's somehow above ground.
You know, there's 5 tables here? It's tiny. And so I remember just kind of throwing my bag down. And then I pull out my phone just to check. And it's one of those weird nights, right? Like I just haven't checked my phone almost any night. Any night. 99% of nights. You know, your phone's right next to you. If it's buzzing, you hear it. If it rings, you hear it. I don't know if I had bad reception in the place because it's kind of an older building. But I look down that I swear to God, I have like 22 text messages. And I'm like, what? And they're all from Emily. And so I run out of the burger place to the street.
Wait, let's go outside.
Okay.
All right, so you rush out here.
I rush out here, and there's not exactly a lot of room. I mean, there's not room at all. So this is a crowded, like this is where you hang out till 4 a.m. So I rush out, and I start reading through the messages, and it starts very kind of innocently, very like, hey, what are you up to tonight? Oh, maybe you're out? I was wondering if maybe you wanted to like get a drink or something. And then it starts escalating like, wait, are you not texting me? Or why aren't you texting me back?
Usually he was pretty quick at getting back to her.
Because I was totally into her. And then it started being like, it started getting a little more paranoid. And then I think she started thinking I was on a date or something.
In just 2 hours, it looked like she'd gone through all these phases. Everything laid out in all these texts, ending with one that Steve was not expecting.
And the last text message said, maybe we need to talk about this whole not dating thing.
Wow.
I thought like this is it. Like whatever's about to happen, like this is the moment. And so I immediately called her. I immediately just hit dial. I didn't quite know what I was going to say. And I think she picked up the phone, said hello, and I just kind of started going into it. Like, I don't know what to say here. Like, yes, I want to date you. And what have we been doing? You know, I'm like screaming in the street.
What took so long?
People stopped walking by me. They just stopped to see, like, what's going on here. Because I'm screaming, like, I love you. I don't know how to be clearer. Like, I love you. And so I'm screaming this. And this crowd is starting to cheer me on. Someone does yell, like, say you love him. Like, say you love him. Yelling to her through the phone. And
I love you.
And all I remember her saying, and it might have been all that she did say, was, you know, like, you need to stop yelling. If you want to talk about this, you might as well just come here.
Slim,
and as
thanks
far
for
as
the
I'm concerned,
raid.
this is the moment. Like, it's on. Like, this is happening. And I just start running down the street looking for cabs.
Let's run. Let's run.
So I start running.
We are now jogging up Ludlow Street.
This is such a good story. I'm enjoying it. Welcome, Raiders. Thank you, Hustler, for the raid. Really appreciated. How was the ending of Claire Obscure Expedition 33? I hope it was amazing. I hope it's everything that you wanted out of this before your day starts, I suppose. Oh, wow, this story is good. Oh, A girl who doesn't know what she wants. A guy who's stuck in limbo. That's funny. It's good. It's a good rom-com. You're not at the end yet, surprisingly. There's so much more game to explore. Sweet. That's awesome. You always want a little more, right? A little more. Just a little more. And not all games can offer that, but it looks like this one is. So that's great. Is the palm roll done? Yeah, all of it? Okay, all the palm roll is done. Cool. I'm gonna rewind the story a little bit because it's good. I actually kind of want to hear the whole like phone call bit again.
And I just or a lot of room, but I look down, and I swear to God, I have like 22 text messages, and I'm like,
good.
What? And they're all from Emily. And so I run out of the burger place to the street.
Wait, let's go outside.
Okay.
All right, so you rush out here.
I rush out here, and there's not exactly a lot of room. I mean, there's not room at all. So this is a crowded, like this is where you hang out till 4 a.m. So I rush out, and I start reading through the messages, and it starts very kind of innocently, very like, hey, what are you up to tonight? Oh, maybe you're out? I was wondering if maybe you wanted to like get a drink or something. And then it starts escalating like, wait, are you not texting me? Or why aren't you texting me back?
Usually he was pretty quick at getting back to her.
Because I was totally into her. And then it started being like, it started getting a little more paranoid. And then I think she started thinking I was on a date or something.
In just 2 hours, it looked like she'd gone through all these phases. Everything laid out in all these texts, ending with one that Steve was not expecting.
And the last text message said, maybe we need to talk about this whole not dating thing. I thought like this is it. Like whatever's about to happen, like this is the moment. And so I immediately called her. I immediately just hit dial. I didn't quite know what I was gonna say. And I think she picked up the phone, said hello, and I just kind of started going into it. Like, I don't know what to say here. Like, yes, I want to date you. And what have we been doing? You know, I'm like screaming in the street. The cars aren't moving. People stopped walking by me. They just stopped to see, like, what's going on here. Because I'm screaming, like, I love you. I don't know how to be clearer. Like, I love you. And so I'm screaming this. And this crowd is starting to cheer me on. Someone does yell, like, say you love him! Like, say you love him! Yelling to her through the phone. And
I love New York.
And all I remember her saying, and it might have been all that she did say, was, you know, like, you need to stop yelling. If you want to talk about this, you might as well just come here. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the moment, like, it's on. Like, this is happening. And I just start running down the street looking.
I got a bad feeling here because of the way she said, like, if you want to talk about it, just come here. Now that he's answered, and he has, in fact, said, I love you, and, like, he's made himself very much available, and, like, again, I have a fear that she's going to reject him again because she was just paranoid that he wasn't hooked onto her anymore, but she's not really. I'm a little afraid. Let's see what this comes. Come here so we can talk. Talk?
For cabs.
Let's run.
Okay. So I start running.
We are now jogging up Ludlow Street. It's actually kind of exciting.
The crowd's looking at me, wondering what the hell I'm doing. And literally, I'm like banging on every cab because it's that time of night where some are just saying they're off duty. So I think I hit a couple, and I'm sort of like, can you take me just up to the East Village, not that far?
But taxi after taxi is like, no, or there's someone in it. So he keeps running.
Like, I didn't tell my friends where I was going. I left my laptop, all these screeners that I had taken assignments to review that the movie studios told me they needed back. I ditched everything.
Can we talk about the running?
Yeah.
Why does love always involve running?
That is interesting. Why did I feel like I had to run?
In the movies they run, but usually it's because someone's about to get married or about to get on a plane. Like,
It felt very urgent to get there very quick.
Yeah.
This had been building up for years. And for a moment, she was willing to consider it. And I was going to get there before she said it was too late or she was too tired.
Steve told me he'd been living in the friend universe for so long. And now it was like this little wormhole had opened up. He didn't know for how long, where he might be able to slip into the parallel universe of boyfriend. Steve did eventually get a taxi, made it to her apartment, and he stayed over.
Oh.
And they did become boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh, good.
In the movies, this is often the final scene. The end of the movie is the beginning of the relationship. You don't really get to see how it goes. How he gets too clingy, one of them meets someone else, how it just fades. But that is not this story.
We got married. And now we have 2 kids. And I still can't believe it's all played out the way it did.
I know things don't always work out in the end. But sometimes you just want to hear the ones that do.
Yeah. Good. Good for them.
David Kestenbaum is our show's senior editor.
I guess this episode is rom-com, not heartbreak.
So after Harry does his run across New York City on New Year's Eve and reaches Sally, he explains to her that he ran because once you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. And he tells her all the things about her that he notices and loves about her. That's the final thing you need for a rom-com. You need for somebody to declare that they see you in ways that you are usually not seen. Maybe you don't even know yourself. And it does happen in real life sometimes, after some obstacles. Diane Wu has a story like that.
She fell for him in an acting class. Jillian was a serious young actor, bent over her desk, taking notes. When Jeffrey got up in front of class to read from A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah, I know, right?
I just remember hearing his voice first and then like actually looking up from my notebook and just watching him do the scene. And he was so good. And he had this really awesome voice. It's like super low and really resonant, and he was really hot too.
By the time he sat back down, she was done.
I was immediately like more attracted to him than I'd ever felt attracted to anybody before. And I didn't know how to talk to him. Like I knew that I wanted to talk to him, but I just didn't know how. There is like a mix between wanting to be right next to somebody and then like run away and hide.
Jillian was young, 20. She'd had boyfriends, but nothing too serious. And they'd always liked her more than she liked them. Until Jeffrey. They were working together at a Shakespeare theater in New York. At the end, they put on a production of The Winter's Tale. On stage, she'd sometimes get so distracted that he was there that she'd forget her lines. Sometimes, offstage, she thought maybe Jeffrey was flirting with her, but she couldn't tell for sure. And anyway, she had a rule. Never sleep with a castmate. So, for 4 months, she kept her feelings to herself. Cut to the night of the final cast party. Everyone's at the bar that they always go to, and it's the first night they're no longer coworkers. So, on her way over, Jillian makes it her mission to try and kiss him that night. She talks to him a lot at the party, but keeps chickening out.
Aww.
Finally, she gives up and decides to go home.
And so I was standing there and I was getting ready to hail a cab, finishing up the end of a cigarette, and I felt him come up next to me. And yeah, it was kind of like, I remember him just like brushing back hair kind of off of my cheek. And it's that moment, you know, where you know that you're actually gonna kiss. Like, you just feel it in your two bodies. And he just so very lightly pressed his lips up against mine. And then it was like an actual like deeper kiss. And I know from the outside we made it look good because it very much felt like one of those like a good stage kiss.
Nice.
After their perfect first kiss, everything falls into place on cue. He invites her back to his apartment. She flicks her cigarette to the curb. He opens the door to the cab. She glides into the back seat. More kissing ensues.
I think that's probably the first time I've ever made out with anybody in the back of a cab. I think I was probably like, oh, this cab driver's here.
They make out all the way across Manhattan, over a bridge, and up 5 flights of stairs.
Wow.
Somehow, Jeffrey manages to unlock the door without removing his lips from Jillian.
Ah!
This impresses her very much. Everything is going so perfectly.
So then I use his bathroom because I've been drinking a lot of beer all night, and I'm so nervous. I notice that my hands are shaking in the mirror. I'm so nervous, and I just like look myself in the eye, and I actually gave myself a pep talk. Like pointer fingers and dancing in the mirror and being like, this is everything you've waited for, it's actually happening, it's like excitement, nervous, I believe in you. Yeah.
Then Jillian encounters the first obstacle in what will turn out to be a very strange night for her.
And my whole heart just sinks. I'm not actually gonna be able to have sex with him.
Why?
I just got my period.
So?
I realized that like making out with him in the back of the cab and just like my cigarettes and my leather jacket, you know, it makes me seem like I was this really cool city girl, but the reality of who I am is this very nervous person who grew up very conservative, like very, very conservative.
Okay.
Jillian grew up on a farm in rural Canada. This one time when she was young and got her period while wearing white pants, her whole family participated in a weird game of denial. Everyone just pretended like she sat in some jam. She didn't even like to say the word period.
It was something that was kind of like very hush-hush and not something I was used to discussing openly.
Jillian thinks there's no way we can sleep together tonight. So she's disappointed, and she's stressing over how she's even going to tell him. But she can't hide in the bathroom much longer. He's waiting on the other side of the door.
So I left the bathroom, and it was like I stepped out into another world, this like romantic world where he had actually taken a scarf and put it over a lamp. So like the lighting was this like orange mood lighting. He didn't have a shirt on, and my mind remembers him glistening. He probably wasn't actually glistening, but that's how my mind remembers him.
We checked. Her mind remembers right. Jeffrey told me, and he said, yes, this is very embarrassing looking back, but while she was in the bathroom, he slathered on baby oil to make his muscles pop. Anyway, they start to kiss.
And I remember, like, at first being really into it and then remembering my situation, so my mouth does that thing where it curls up a little bit. And we kind of laugh a bit, and he goes in to kiss me again. I do that thing where I pull away again, and he was so sweet. He was like, wait, like, what's going on? You know, he noticed it. He read it right away and was like, we don't have to do this. Like, I want to be clear. Like, nothing is expected of you in this situation. We don't have to have sex. And I was like, I want to. I really, like, I honestly, I want to. It's just, and I kept trying to think of how am I going to phrase this? I think of this thing that my roommate used to say. She calls it her Aunt Flo.
Yeah, Aunt Flo.
So I look at him and I tell him that my Aunt Flo has just landed and she's very much in town.
But does he know what that means?
And he gets like a little bit confused.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
He asked me if my aunt has like just arrived at the airport and if I have to go see her or something. So eventually I fess up and I tell him like, no, I have my period, and I'm pretty sure I whispered it. I'm pretty sure I was like, I have my period. And he smiled this like half smile and was like, so? I was like, so? What do you mean, so?
Oh, it's cute.
And he didn't care.
He didn't care. He was older than her, grew up with a bunch of sisters. Jillian is briefly astonished, considers this totally new possibility, not caring. Decides she's into it, and they start kissing again. And because this is a family show, I will just say that everything that happened next went really well.
Oh, good.
In fact, it was the first time this particular activity went quite so well for Jillian.
Oh, good.
I felt like I finally understood what it was about.
Wow.
I remember lying there and listening to his heartbeat. Yeah.
This is so cute.
Just like listening to his heartbeat is such a comforting sound that I can still hear it so distinctly. And after a while, he gets up to go to the bathroom and he kind of like flicks on that little light.
She's talking about the lamp by the bed.
And I turn off that light and He flicks it on again, and then I turn it back off.
Okay.
We have this like little shared moment laughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he leaves, and I turn the light on again, and it looks like a crime scene. There is blood everywhere. This is the first time
White sheets, I bet.
had seen so much of my own menstrual fluid. I was afraid of it. I couldn't even fathom what he was going to think about it.
Just when Jillian thinks it can't get worse, she looks up from the bed.
And then, I don't know how this happened, but my very own, like, red, bloody handprint is on his white wall.
Oh my God.
I just, like, panicked.
Jillian tears the sheets off the bed and throws them aside. Next, the handprint.
He didn't have any water or anything in his room, so I used my own saliva to wipe the bloody handprint off of the wall. Like, out, damn spot.
Poor Jillian.
Next, she bundles up the sheets, but she has no idea what to do with them. She starts to put them in the hamper, but then realizes that he would still have to take them and wash them
You
himself.
can still see them.
Which she cannot bear to imagine.
Oh.
She peeks under his bed to see if she can stash them there, but then she thinks, no, that's crazy. He'll still find them.
Yeah.
Jeffrey will be out of the bathroom any minute. She's running out of options.
So I stuffed them into my own backpack.
Were you going to take them?
Oh, yeah, well, I have to get out of there.
You had to get out of there. You're just going to leave the bed sheets.
God.
I know, but I wasn't thinking about that at the time. All I could think of is that I didn't want him to have to wash these sheets, and I didn't want him to have to clean up my mess.
What do you think
To cover
he
her
went
tracks,
to go to the washroom
Jillian
for, if you
throws the
think about it?
comforter over the bed so you can't see the sheets are missing, straightens the pillows, and gets ready to bolt. When Jeffrey comes back from the shower, she makes up a lame excuse about why she can't stay the night. Something about having to go to work early the next morning. She could tell how flimsy it sounded as she was saying it.
And I just, it breaks my heart, but I remember him looking so hurt and so confused. I wish that I didn't leave. Like, I wish that I had stayed, but...
She didn't.
Oh.
Jeffrey offered to help Jillian hail a cab, but she was like, no, it's fine. I'll just take the subway. She walked to the station, totally miserable.
No.
Like, then it really hits me that I have stolen this man's sheets. How do you come back from that? How do you... how are you not the weird girl who, like, took his bed sheets?
Yeah.
So then I'm so inside myself, and I hear this voice being like, ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. And I look up, and in New York, they have this, like, station outside of subway entrances with this, like, folding table. And the NYPD stands behind, and it's a random bag search.
Oh, no.
No. And here,
No.
Jillian does what any sensible leading lady would do when confronted by law enforcement.
I pretend I don't hear them, and I try to, like, exit the subway station about like a brisk, like, run walk. And nothing looks more suspicious than trying to avoid a random bag search.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh.
The officer catches up to Jillian, unzips her backpack, and pulls out the sheets, which are covered in blood.
Yeah.
I remember him, like, and the subway has such distinct lighting, like, I just remember him holding up these sheets, my menstrual sheets of shame, like menstrual sheets of doom. I realized that they didn't look like menstrual sheets of doom, they looked like murder sheets of doom.
Murder sheets of doom.
He asked me to explain it, and I just start crying. I can barely get the words out. I'm just, like, trying to explain to him, like, it's my period on those sheets, and I stole the sheets from the guy that I was with, and I know that that's wrong. Like, I know that the actual theft of the sheets is wrong, and I promised the officer that I would return them, but I just needed to wash them first.
The police officer looks Jillian up and down, asks for her ID, and points her to go stand in a little box taped on the floor by the wall.
No.
She watches him walk over to his partner and have a very serious-looking conversation.
Are they gonna have to call the
sheets are
guy?
crumpled up on the plastic folding table.
And he comes back and he gives me an ultimatum. So we can go down to the precinct, and they can file a report, and they've got to keep the sheets just in case it's evidence, you know, and they're going to ask me a bunch of questions and follow up. Or
He'd call
I
the
can
guy.
take him back to the apartment that I just came from, and have my partner corroborate my story. Like, and I had to think about it. Like, I honestly gave it a really solid, good think. There was a huge part of me that would rather go to the police station than have
I
to
can
go
understand
back
that.
and show Jeffrey these, not only show him these sheets, but also bring the police there. But, you know, my common sense caught up with me of like, this looks like I've done something very wrong.
They make the long walk to Jeffrey's apartment, silently. They get to the doorstep and buzz. Wait for Jeffrey to walk down 5 flights of stairs. When he gets there, the police officer does all the talking. Good evening. Do you know this woman? Jeffrey says he does, that they'd just been hanging out. Then the cop reaches into Jillian's backpack and pulls out the sheets. Do you know what these are? Jeffrey says, those are my sheets. The police officer asks, can you identify the substance on these sheets?
And I just remember being fascinated because without hesitating and almost like in this like stronger voice, he just says menstrual fluid, which is like, you know, I would call my period anything other than what it actually was. So for him to like look a police officer right in the eyes and just say very confidently menstrual fluid, it was just, it sounded so scientific and very grown up.
So what happened after?
The cops, having fulfilled their narrative purpose and successfully reunited our couple, leave.
And then I'm alone with Jeffrey. And I'm trying to apologize to him, namely for stealing the sheets, but also just for everything, for bringing the police back to his house.
Jillian remembers sobbing through all of this. She's mortified. All of a sudden, Jeffrey stops her and says this thing that still hits Jillian in a soft spot.
He told me, I just remember him looking at me and he's like, you're so strange. He's like, wonderfully strange.
Wonderfully strange. I like that, actually.
Everything that you could possibly think of going wrong went wrong, and it all still turned out okay.
Oh, Kip, it was such a good story. Oh, it was so good. It's nice to see you. Those guys have an amazing storytelling now as well. Yeah. Wonderfully strange. Yes. Thanks for doing a shout out for Kip. Kip's pretty cool. Kip's pretty awesome, actually. Caught their stream last night a bit. It was cool. Pullman would have made absolutely horrifying and amazing story. Yeah. That's a great story, though. I wonder how long they stayed together.
I just remember him looking at me and he's like, you're so strange. He's like, wonderfully strange. Everything that you could possibly think of going wrong went wrong, and it all still turned out okay. He still liked me, no matter what.
This is like my favorite moment in any rom-com. It's a scene in 10 Things I Hate About You when Julia Stiles reads her
Blame me? What? What did I do? I did nothing wrong. Oh, that was so good. Yes, what? What do I know? What do I know? Swing arm and pipe. That's pipes. What is swing arm? Is it like one of these things? Swing arm. Oh, maybe the thing that you put down the leg thing? Leg stand? Yeah, it was a leg stand. Oh no, it wasn't. Never mind. Nothing wrong, no. I know. I know. Pure and innocent here. Just a little angel. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everything that you could possibly think of going wrong went wrong, and it all still turned out okay. He
Mhm.
still liked me, no matter what.
This is like my favorite moment in any rom-com. It's a scene in 10 Things I Hate About You when Julia Stiles reads her poem to Heath Ledger in front of the entire class. It's Jack Nicholson in As Good as It Gets, telling Helen Hunt how he just can't believe she runs into strangers all day long and they don't know that they just met the greatest woman alive. And of course, it's Mark Darcy at the bottom of the stairs telling Bridget Jones, I like you very much, just as you are.
Aw.
To me, the whole point of rom-coms is to set up that line. It's what we all want to hear and say to the people we love most. But real life doesn't guarantee a plot line that pushes us to say it.
Diane Wu, she's one of the producers of our show. Jillian and Jeffrey dated for a few months, and then they broke it off when real life, new jobs, her expired visa from Canada got in the way. She says she's glad it ended before anything bad happened. Keeps the memory sweet, just like a movie.
It was a good relationship.
These days, Jillian Walsh
Began
is an
to-
actor, writer, and comedian in Toronto. A version of this story first aired on the Risk podcast.
Tra-la-la-la-la. It's a good story. Even if they didn't end up together, it's fine. It sounded like they parted amicably. It was just circumstances. It seemed like a good relationship.
Good
Good for them.
Today by Neil Drumming and Diane Wu. The people who put our show together includes Elna Baker, Elise Bergerson, Ben Calhoun, Dana Chivas, Sean Cole, Whitney Dangerfield, Aviva de Kornfeld, Stephanie Fu, Damian Grave, Kimberly Henderson, Hannah Joffrey Walt, David
Not
Kestenbaum,
all
Seth Lind,
relationships
Alvin
have to
Malik,
end
B.A.
with a
Parker, Ben
bang.
Phelan, Robin Semyon, Alyssa Shipp, Christopher Futala, Julie Whitaker. Senior producer for today's show, Brian Reed. Managing editor, Susan Burton. Help on today's rerun from Michael Kamate, Catherine Raimondo, Stone Nelson, and Angela Gervasi. Thanks to the podcast Two Dope Queens for the recording of Michelle Buteau performing on stage. Also thanks to Linda Obst, Guinevere Turner, Jeffrey Barnes, Paul Fitch, Ron Funches, Aisha Harris, the folks at Mikey's Burger and the Alamo Draft House in Yonkers. Neil Drumming, who you heard earlier talking about When Harry Met Sally and who produced this episode, is no longer working at our show. And he has released an album where he raps. And the thing that I love about it is that Neil's real life personality is all right there. It is funny and self-critical and contemplative and definitely has a bit of romantic comedy there. It is called Writing on Airplanes, available on most streaming platforms. Our website, thisamericanlife.org. This American Life is delivered to public radio stations by
PRX, the Public Radio Exchange.
Thanks as always to our program's co-founder, Mr.
Jordan
Troy Malatia.
Malatia.
He and I were reminiscing about that taxi ride we had years ago in England with Margaret Thatcher.
And I think that's probably the first time I've ever made out with anybody in the back of a cab.
With Margaret
I'm
Thatcher.
Eric Glass. Back next week with more stories of This American Life.
That was so good. Good eps. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put up an ad break. I'm gonna go use the washroom because I really, really need to use the washroom. And we're gonna listen to another episode. It's probably not gonna be as good as this one because this one was just really that good. But still, we're gonna listen to another episode. That was so good. To be fair, this was more of a recent episode compared to all the ones that I've been listening to on stream, which is like the ones from 2000, from 25 years ago. Like, they've obviously like developed their talent and their resources and all that stuff. They got good. But like, I haven't heard all the early episodes and I want to catch up to that. Yeah, this was episode 638. They're already at over 850 episodes on thisamericanlife.org. Yeah, so I'm gonna run an ad. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Don't watch the ads. Just chill. Just chill. Watch the cat. There you go. Watch the cat. And we'll come back with another episode. If somebody has a specific episode they'd like to hear, well, you can absolutely request an episode. I don't mind. Here is the archive. If you want to pick one up, I don't mind at all. Otherwise, I will pick it myself. No worries there. Right, back in a bit. Hi there, hello, I'm back. Did anybody have a suggestion for which episode we would be listening to? If not, I will go and pick one. Let's. How about this one? 24 hours at the Golden Apple. One full day in a Chicago diner. Alright. Let's unpin this. And we'll put in the new episode.
There's certain things you should really only say to your best friend. This is probably one of them.
You ever just shut up and just listen to somebody?
Go right ahead.
That's what spill it out there, brother. I already did.
Tom and Scott are in an all-night diner around midnight. Scott is disheveled and tired. He's been working all night as a bartender at a Chinese restaurant, serving lots of free drinks on the sly to Tom. And Tom, in response, seems astonishingly ungrateful. Here is the kind of sass that Tom keeps throwing Scott's way.
You're the one who needed the food and the beers and all that stuff like that to calm down after your traumatic night stealing from your employer.
Really?
Just at that moment, a man in a Hawaiian print shirt and khaki pants walks by their table. He hears the word employer, mistakes it for the word lawyer.
Lawyer?
And then turns to Tom.
Are you a lawyer?
No.
No. Do you want to be?
Who brought up lawyer to start with? You just came walking
did.
in. No, I didn't. Not at all.
He didn't say lawyer.
You thought that you heard something, and then you let your mind take over, and then it got you, and
I am a lawyer, so that's probably why I might have thought that. But you know what?
Right.
I'm trained in the art of listening, and this morning you said you wanted to be a lawyer.
I definitely wouldn't hire you because you heard completely wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some conversations that you overhear, and it's hard not to want to keep listening, or to butt in, even though everybody knows that it is not the right thing to do. One Sunday morning, a while back, I was sitting in one of the booths in this very diner, the Golden Apple in Chicago, on Lincoln Avenue, and I looked around the restaurant. At the table next to me, a family was taking their teenage daughter out to an awkward last breakfast, before she shipped out with the military. There were dressed-up people who'd come in from the church across the street, and young couples who'd stumbled in with the paper and were working on the crossword together. And I thought, if only somebody could interview every person at every table in this restaurant, that would be amazing. You get such a wide variety of different kinds of stories from different kinds of people. So, we decided to try it.
Okay.
One Friday night, a big group of us took shifts, starting at 5 a.m. and going to 5 a.m. the next morning. During quiet hours, it was just one of us on duty, recording and interviewing people. During the busiest hours, which means late night, 3 or 4 of us worked the tables. We first broadcast today's program all the way back in 2000, and we're rerunning it again today. From WBEZ Chicago, today's show, 24 hours at the Golden Apple. This American Life, I'm Ira Glass. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. My name is Pete. I work from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. And now we want to have the taxi drivers and the cops, come for a cup of coffee until 6 o'clock. The morning crowd is going to be in.
Pete's one of the 3 owners of this restaurant, along with Nick and Tom. All 3 are Greek, and one of them is always there, 24 hours a day. The restaurant sits at one of those intersections where 3 streets come together, not 2. So every one of the corners in the intersection is wedge-shaped, which means that the restaurant itself is wedge-shaped, with booths along the windows on 2 sides of the wedge.
Cool.
There's a counter with stools and a larger room with tables in the back. There are those oversized laminated menus that go on for pages, with pictures of the food. By the door is one of those revolving dessert cases, an octagon made of glass. 3 shelves of cream pies and melon slices and cakes. Lately,
have been nothing but trouble. Here's Nick, another one of the owners.
It's supposed to be turning. It's not turning because the motor broke. Jimmy's supposed to come out like 3 days ago. He's still coming. Now, if you can figure this one out. The pie case is not turning, and believe it or not, it's not selling as good. That's the truth.
Dessert sales are down, he says, by half, ever since it broke. People just like desserts more when they're in motion.
It catches the eye. You know, when it's turning, it catches the eye, and it sells.
Over the course of 24 hours, the staff of the Golden Apple changes, the regulars who come in change, and the atmosphere changes. From quiet in the early morning to crazy hectic late at night when the bars in the neighborhood let out. Nancy Updike took the first shift of our 24-hour surveillance, mic in hand, from 5 a.m. till 10 a.m.
This is Eddie. He comes to the Golden Apple a few times a week in the mornings and plays the harmonica in the middle of the restaurant for a few minutes. He's in a pale blue shirt and hopping lightly from foot to foot.
I might fall down.
Eddie heads to the back of the restaurant to play there. No one is complaining. No one is rolling their eyes. In fact, a few people are smiling and saying hi. Eddie is not an outsider here. He's a regular. Early morning at the Golden Apple is like that, a profoundly democratic place. Early morning welcomes the night shift workers, the unemployed, the retired, the confused, the disappointed, the slightly off, the people who work for themselves,
Sounds
and
good.
the people who don't work
Good
at all
meeting.
anymore, but crave a little morning routine.
Every morning I'm here between 4:30 and 5. I love the Golden Apple. They're wonderful people. They got good food. And that's it.
This is how Joe Molica ends every sentence.
And that's it.
Or sometimes,
And that's all I could tell you, honey.
Joe's not used to talking about himself. His story comes out bit by bit. Our entire conversation takes place in a different era. He's completely unself-conscious about calling me honey. He bangs on his coffee cup with his spoon to get the waitress's attention for a refill. Please don't try this at home. But he gets away with it.
I do construction, remodeling, rehab. And that's what I do. I retired. I'm 78 years old. And I gave the business to my 2 sons. And that's it.
How did you start that business?
To my dad. My dad done the same thing when I was, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 years old. I started working for him. He was paying me a dime an hour. And that was it. Clean up, sweep up the floors that he's working on. What else you want to know, honey?
At 5:30 in the morning, almost everyone is sitting alone. By choice, it seems. Joe's friend Bob is sitting in his own booth behind Joe. No one's talking much, but it's a comfortable silence. When you're up this early, it's hard not to feel some sense of community with everyone else who's awake. But you don't necessarily want to talk to them. As it gets lighter and lighter outside, more people trickle in. A guy with thick, dark blonde hair and a face that looks like it could use another 6 hours sleep sits down at the counter. His name is Scott Johnson, and he says he usually comes in around 3:30 a.m., but today's different.
It's about 20 after 7.
How did you start coming to the Golden Apple?
I own a bar right down the street. It's called Wits, and I own another one on Clark and Oakdale called Jake's.
How did you get into the bar business?
Oh boy. Well, about 8 years ago, I turned 30, quit my career, got a divorce, and bought a bar in the same month.
Oh my God.
Took the Etch-a-Sketch and shook it. Stood it upside down and shook it real hard and changed my life forever.
It's completely light outside now. Commuter traffic is picking up. The Golden Apple isn't crowded, but all the front booths are taken and most of the counter. Nick keeps getting deliveries, orange juice, potatoes, and his butcher comes by, John Zervis. John is a big man in that way that's the norm in Chicago. Not fat, just big. John has been eating at the Golden Apple and supplying its meats for 10 years. When he was 8 years old, he became famous for being the youngest butcher in Illinois.
Back in 1979, I was interviewed by Fahey Flynn. I don't know if you remember, back in 1979, Fahey Flynn was a well-known newsman right here at Channel 7 News before he died in 81. I was the youngest butch in Illinois in 1979. And yeah, I've met Governor Thompson down Randolph Street. My father was in the retail business too on Randolph Street, and that's how I started learning how to cut. So I've been doing this I'm 33 now, and since I was like 8 years old.
You were a butcher when you were 8?
Well, yeah, I've been involved, cleaning tables, and about 12 years old, I started cutting meat on a bandsaw.
Wow. Do you remember the first piece of meat you cut?
Pork chops. Piece of pork loin, and I sliced it. I remember very well, like it was yesterday. And real slow on a bandsaw, pork chops. Pork loin's like 18 pounds. First thing I did is cut it down the middle and start from the middle. The trick is at the end, not to cut your hands when it comes really small. You got to use a special kind of thing that's underneath the bandsaw, not to put your hand in it, because the bandsaw doesn't have any friends. I mean, if it's going to grab your hand, it's going to cut it.
The front of the Golden Apple is the smoking section. Sitting there is a grayish woman with a fleshy face and wavy hair in one of the small two-person booths. Her name is Alice DeLuca.
I work at a purification center. It's sauna, running, vitamins and minerals. It's a program to rid your body of toxins and radiation.
Awesome. Welcome back.
Wow. Have you done the program yourself?
Yes, I have.
Now, to the naked eye, it looks like you're smoking and drinking coffee and about to have some sausage. So how does that square with the whole toxins thing?
Well, I'm trying to wake up.
You need some toxins to wake up.
I guess so.
The restaurant never gets crowded this morning. Turnover is slow. People linger over their coffee or their conversation. It's a weekday, so there's no impatient brunch crowd waiting for tables to open up. And if you don't have an office you need to get to, why rush? Donna, the waitress, is finishing up the night shift and getting ready to go home. She's been on since 11 p.m., but you would never know it to look at her. She's 6 feet tall and looks like Catherine Deneuve. She's one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen in person. How long have you been working here?
Oh, 26 years.
Wow. How old were you when you started?
Well, you think I'm going to tell you that? Are you kidding? My kids don't even know how old I am.
Donna says she's actually not a night person, but she's worked the night shift the entire time, all 26 years. She came to Chicago from Oklahoma City in her early 20s with 3 kids.
I was divorced when I came here, and I had married so young, had my children young, no education, and I had a little baby. That's why I started working nights. But this is a great job for that. I mean, working nights, that way you're with them during the day. You don't sleep much, but when they're sleeping, you're working. And I'm still working the night shift. I don't know why, but I still am.
Every Christmas Eve, Donna brings in a big tray of homemade cookies for the homeless guys and the old men and the taxi drivers, anyone who shows up that night. Every once in a while, on her afternoon off, she'll go see a play starring one of the actors who come in every night after their own shifts waiting tables. Her customers give her tapes of the bands they're in, bring in their artwork for her to see, tell her about their successes and failures. These are people she's known for years.
It's like home here to me. And when I think about, going on a day job, I just can't. It's almost like it'd be another, a separation, because it's like home when you've been here this long.
Donna runs her shift at the Golden Apple with a lot of compassion and generosity. But like any good waitress, she's also ruthlessly practical. She can be direct when she needs to. Early morning is no time to stand on ceremony.
Oh, honey, I gotta get finished with the rest of my work. All right.
Are you doing anything to set up or clean up?
I gotta check and see what I got to do.
Can I just follow you around and you tell me what you're doing? I'll just
Well, I don't even know if I have anything more to do. I just didn't want to talk anymore.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I didn't want to be rude.
No.
I just sorry. I'm tired of talking.
In the middle of the day, a muted light streams through the windows, through a pale haze of cigarette smoke. At certain hours, it feels like everybody is smoking at the Golden Apple. 3 industrial smoke eaters, non-stop. At lunch, some customers come in, eat quickly, and head back to work after just a half hour, but they're in the minority. Probably 3/4 of the customers are regulars. Many of them stay for hours. Nick, the owner, says some come 2 or 3 times a day.
I mean, they go home and sleep, of course, but this is their base. We got Charlie right now in the restaurant that comes 2, 3 times a day. Floyd, which is right next to him. Mitch with his son on the counter. He's a counter man. Mr. Harlan there with Steven. They come twice a day. Russ comes about 3, 4 times a day. Al 2, 3 times a day.
At the counter, a man who looks a little bit like the actor Harry Dean Stanton, scruffy and lean, is here for the second time in 24 hours. He gives me what he says is his nickname, Robert. He says he usually just comes for coffee. Can't afford much else.
So why do you come here?
This is something to do. Coffee. I came over here because I'm single, no wife, no girlfriend, no kids either.
Better than a bar.
Robert is one of 3 different men who tell me that they come here in the afternoon to drink coffee and talk to the waitresses. All 3 actually seem a little shy and intimidated by the waitresses. Robert is so bashful, he has a hard time saying much of anything to them.
I never said more than hello, or goodbye.
Really?
That's all I ever said. I don't know what to do with a girl, with a pretty girl like that. What to say? I don't know what to say.
You and me both, brother. I get bashful too.
At a table in the back, Manuel Hernandez is here for the second time today. He's a retired carpenter. Came to Chicago from Mexico in 1965. Was one of the workers who built the Sears Tower downtown, one of the tallest buildings in the world. He quit, he says, when they got to the 105th floor.
It was too windy up there. After 2 guys, they fall down, and then I quit. He said, I don't want to be the next.
As the afternoon passes, he calls over one of the waitresses, Sherry, and asks her for help reading a document that he got in the mail from an insurance company. He's worried it's some kind of scam.
Bashful,
She
nervous,
reads it, tells him
flustered.
no. They've sent him a
As
check.
you've noticed.
It's real. Sherry says this kind of thing happens all
After
the
I
time.
say it.
Some of these guys, who else do they have to turn to? Out on the sidewalk, when the weather's good, the restaurant sets up tables. At one, Allison Musgrave and her 2 kids are eating. Ian is 4, Madeline is 2. Both are wearing their bicycle helmets at the table and eating the Mickey Mouse pancakes. 3 pancakes, arranged in violation of U.S. copyright law. 2 ears and a head, maraschino cherries, canned pineapple, and whipped cream as the eyes and mouth. Cover it with maple syrup, and you have a sugar concoction so powerful that 4-year-old Ian literally cannot sit in his chair.
Ian, around here, please. Thank you.
I don't live far from here, and I do not think there is a 4-year-old in a 10-block radius who does not know the Mickey Mouse pancakes.
Turn around now, Ian. Turn around, please.
The restaurant has toys for kids in a corner inside. One couple named Mike and Liz tell us that they come here so often with their 4- and 7-year-old and feel so at home here that they've instructed their kids that if they're ever lost, they're supposed to find a policeman and tell him not to bring them home, bring them to the Golden Apple. As evening falls, it takes a while for the dinner crowd to show up in any kind of force. It's a slow day, everybody says. But it is Friday, and couples start to arrive. Someone dates, some just friends, some in that vague territory in between. And the topics of conversation in the room start to make an orbital shift toward couple sorts of topics. One of our producers, Susan Burton, notices one couple in particular.
A man and a woman in their 30s sit down in a booth by a window. The man's long hair is tied back with a bandana.
I'm Daniel Romero. Sylvia and I just got through playing a few sets of tennis in Grant Park and stopped at Healing Earth for a little incense and some good karma, and we decided to stop and grab a bite.
Good karma, yeah.
Sylvia and I have this kind of weird history. She actually dumped me not too long ago, and that's right. Long time.
Romero.
That wasn't that long ago. So she's now happily in a relationship, and I was telling her as we were driving here about how lonely I am.
Actually, it's been 3 years since Daniel and Sylvia broke up. They met when they worked together at the same nonprofit organization.
So you're ready to settle down now.
I am.
Well, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I actually, when you first told me that, I actually wasn't sure.
Right, but you will not be coming to the wedding. You already told me that.
I did tell you that. I won't be participating there. You'll have my best wishes.
We're friends. I still love you and care about you. Why can't you be there?
Well, why can't? It would just be weird. I mean, you and I have a pretty significant history together. But I would still be happy for you, and you'd have my best wishes, and I'll still buy you a toaster.
Very toaster. Okay.
A toaster. Okay. See, I think that's unusual. I think I would be very happy for you. Would I have some feelings there? Yeah, maybe there would be a little twinge thinking, why wasn't it me?
That's actually a Sex in the City topic a lot. Absolutely.
In case you've missed it, Sex and the City is a TV show on HBO. Each episode circles around some central question, like, can you be friends with your ex? If Daniel and Sylvia and I were suddenly cast in our own episode of the show, this would be the moment where I would light a cigarette and flip open my power book and ponder what I'd seen. Daniel and Sylvia began by talking about Sylvia's new boyfriend, but wound up discussing each other. And I started to wonder, when you talk about your ex's new relationships, are you really just talking about the two of you?
I didn't tell you this. You asked me how my love life was a little bit earlier. I did meet somebody about a week ago. Her name is Amy, and she works at... Where does she work at? She works at Supercuts. And she was with her boyfriend, actually.
And she was hitting on you.
And she was hitting on me. She said to me, I want to go out with you. And I said, fine, let's go out. She says, well, you have to wait a month because I'm still going out with this idiot over here. I mean, and she's talking about, and so nothing happened, though.
Go out with a woman who would degrade her boyfriend that way, who would treat the guy that she's supposedly dating that way?
Yeah, but I'm not going to marry this girl. I wasn't interested in a lifetime commitment at that moment. I mean, I was much more looking for the immediate gratification.
Oh. Yeah.
That's what you're always looking for.
That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true.
Each time Daniel brings up someone he's interested in, Sylvia gets exasperated with him for refusing to make a commitment. It happens when he mentions the woman he saw in a lounge chair by a pool in Las Vegas, and the girl he's taken on a dozen dates, but is pretty sure he wants to break up with. It turns out that this is a conversation they've had before, at the end of their own relationship.
I was ready for the next step, and he was ready to back out. Anytime I pressed forward, he went backwards a couple steps.
You're right. You and I were in a place where you were frustrated because I couldn't move forward. I was frustrated because you were pressing so hard. And
then
right.
The next girl and moved in with her after 3 weeks.
Wow. Buddy.
I think it's a hard topic for us both.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the thought of it's like
He trails off, staring out the window.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to.
It's kind of hard to talk when two babes go by.
Yeah.
Outside on the sidewalk, two girls with blonde hair and short skirts approach. They catch Daniel's eye. He mumbles. As the girls stride by the window, he turns his head and follows them from one end of the glass to the other. The gesture seems to happen in slow motion.
He does that all the time.
Yeah, but I'm not. But
I know. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when we were together and you did that, that really hurts.
Even though it's just looking.
It says you're not interested in what's going on right here, and that's exactly what you did by doing that. You couldn't even formulate the sentence because your eyeballs were glued to that window.
Look. This has been another topic on Sex in the City.
Just for the record, what actually happened in that episode? The woman got so mad at her boyfriend that she punched him in the face. And then
Good reaction.
she realized she couldn't change him.
Yeah, don't stick in a relationship like that.
Over by the restaurant's front windows, which look out on St. Alphonsus Catholic Church, a huge building, sits Kay Frank, known to her friends as Katie Keene, 75 years old, dressed in a nice outfit, a matching scarf. She's here because one of her longtime neighbors, another Golden Apple customer, is laid out dead in the funeral home right across the street. She'll eat, then pay her respects. She tells me that she's lived her whole life within walking distance of this very spot.
I was born and raised on Lakewood 75 years ago. Went to St. Alphonsus School, so this is my neighborhood for a long time. And
yes,
it gives me a lot of
Clementine,
pleasure
come on.
to walk the neighborhood and say, Margaret Kuntz lived in that house. Lucille Suchel lived in that house. I can still see all the things in my mind as I did in the 30s and 40s.
Let's check and hydrate.
Back then, for instance, a pharmacy was on this spot. And Kay and her friends would
Clementine.
come here after 11 o'clock Mass.
I'm talking about first year, second year high school when you didn't go to the kiddie mass anymore at 9 o'clock in the morning. This was like a hangout here after mass. In this whole section here, they had a wonderful soda fountain. It was right here where this would be. See what I'm saying?
She points at a section of booths. For years, this neighborhood was all about which parish you belonged to. St. Alphonsus for the Germans, St. Andrews for the Irish and Italian, St. Josephat for the Polish. Till finally, in the 1960s, that ended. Kay's 5 sisters and her parents all moved away from the neighborhood.
I'm the only one that stayed in the neighborhood because we couldn't afford to move out of here. We bought our house in the mid-60s, 64. And everybody thought the neighborhood was going to change. So, of course, they're moving to the suburbs or farther north or farther west.
Change? You mean people thought it wasn't going to be white anymore?
They thought, yes.
Oh.
They thought it was going to go down. That's why people were scared and moved out. So we couldn't
Terrible.
afford to move. So we bought a house there for $27,000. I've had offers of $500,000, $550,000 for my house.
Meanwhile, one of her sisters who moved away to avoid the blight of this area, who moved to an area too expensive for Kay or her husband to afford, just sold her house for only $200,000. Gentrification, which spread through this neighborhood in the last 15 years, hasn't made it out to where her sisters live. But around here, on Southport and on Clark and all over, there are little boutiques and several Starbucks and expensive restaurants with fake European names.
The neighborhood has changed a lot, you know, a whole lot. Some for the better, some for the worse. Close by, we have our gay people, which we never had as a kid. They were around maybe, but we didn't know who they were. Today you know who they are. My husband coming from the old school, we have the nicest neighbors we've ever had, 2 gay men. They can't do enough for you. They cut your grass for you. They water now that I'm older. And when they moved in, my husband, coming from way back, oh my God, you know, he didn't want really too much to do with them.
Real sad here.
Within a year, I'd say, we saw that they were nice people, very clean. And when we had our 50th wedding anniversary party at some Deutscheneck here, it was our neighbors that went to the hall without any, they wouldn't take a penny. They decorated that place like you wouldn't believe.
Oh.
Now, how many neighbors would do that for you? You know, so gay or not gay, they're really nice people. So I think that the gays can be credited for being such a nice people. They swayed a lot of the old-time people into different thinking.
Go the gays. Sure.
There's still a
I'll
lot
take
of
it. I'll
racial
take it.
stuff.
It's
Maybe if you had a black
positive.
neighbor here,
It's a positive message.
or one of the people would rent to a black person, I think they'd be frowned upon a little bit. But if you rent to a gay person today, It's okay.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, renting to a gay person's okay. Yes, indeed.
A lot of things that we think should be this way and that way as you grow up, it's really not that way. It shouldn't be that way.
Good.
So
Good.
I don't feel that we should really judge them.
Good.
You know.
Okay,
Let
progress.
the Lord judge them.
All right. Take the good. We'll leave at the bad.
Coming up, drunks, partiers, people on the make, and lots of other people to try not to judge. I mean, we have not even gotten to the cops. In a minute, from Chicago Public Radio, warm up that coffee for you when our program continues. This is American Life. I'm Ira
Progress,
Glass.
yeah.
Today on our program, 24 hours at the Golden Apple.
Can't expect perfection
If you're
from
just
the
tuning
get-go.
in, we tried
Yeah,
to interview
progress. There
every
you go.
person at every table of a 24-hour restaurant here in Chicago, starting at 5 a.m. in the morning on Friday, July 14th, going till 5 a.m. the next morning. Not everybody said yes. Not everybody could fit into a 1-hour radio show. And the day is just heating up. Let's jump ahead to midnight. One of the owners, Pete, is explaining something sort of surprising about a restaurant like this to our reporter, Wendy Dorr.
We never close. We have no keys. We got no keys. If you see the doors, we have no locks. Always open.
You have no keys.
Never,
Okay.
never lock the doors.
Your
Just at
kids.
that moment, a young woman bursts through the door. Laughing, she swivels around and drunkenly tries to lock it, to keep her two friends out. It takes a second before she realizes there are no locks. The three stumble to a table.
This is Kim. I'm at the Golden Apple, NOM, and I'm with Oscar and Beth. Oscar, who I have no idea who he is. Beth and I are riding in a cab, and he hots, and I've never even met this guy. I need to order food. I'm a journalism major, by the way. Yeah. So I understand what you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like she understands everything.
I work with Kim, and Kim lives. I don't live downtown. I live in the suburbs. And Kim, it was like, okay, we want.
I live downtown though.
Right.
I do.
That's
I do.
fine. She lives in Sheffield. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so we go to this premiere party of the Star Wars exhibit at the Field Museum.
Yes. It was so awesome, by the way.
Kim, this is my
Look
story.
at my stars. Look, see it?
Yeah, she sees
Star Wars.
I'm the most sober one here, as you can probably tell. So anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I meet Oscar. We just meet him standing at the bar, and he buys us a couple shots. So we're like, fine. We start drinking with him. We start talking to him. Oh, so I'm sitting there talking to Kim. All of a sudden, I feel two hands on my back. Two hands I do not recognize. Two hands that I do not want on my body. And I look, and who do I see? It is Oscar, and I don't even know your last name. Do I?
I'm not going to say on the radio.
I'll be honest. I will be honest with you. He paid for a lot of tonight. He paid for my drinks. Okay, great. You know what? Don't touch me, but you can buy my drinks for me. If you're gonna hop into the cab and pay for it, then fine. I'll let you get into the cab with me. That's fine. And he's probably gonna buy our food here tonight, so that's fine with me. What?
Brutal truth. It's the brutal
I'm just honest. I'm not gonna go home with you.
My name's Oscar. I bought them a drink or two.
Or a bottle of $300 champagne. Okay.
I'm successful. What can I say?
We didn't even have to pay when we walked in.
I'll be completely honest with you. My goal is to share a bed tonight. Yeah, I'm at both of them.
It doesn't matter which one. It's just to share a bed. He just wants to get some play, basically. Is that what you're saying, Oscar?
And I'll bet you if you follow this home, one of them two will be in bed with me tonight.
Oh my god. Oh, Oscar.
Would I be sitting here talking to you in front of a microphone, eating breakfast with them, if I was not going to go home with them tonight? Either I'm
You're
a
not
complete
going home with
moron,
any of them.
or I know something that you don't.
I really am. Oscar, you're a good guy.
All right,
I understand you have a lot of hormones, and that's fine with me. You're just not going to be able to act on them tonight. With me, I don't know about you, but
Not me either. Unless it's paying by food. Where the hell's the waitress?
I don't know.
I just want to know where the waitress is.
This is not how you court women.
By 1
Oscar.
o'clock, the diner is at capacity, and it feels like one big party. A woman sits in a booth in the back with a friend. She's in her early 40s.
The way you
Grew up in
court
the neighborhood.
women is you
My
find
name
them
is Nancy.
online, you go
Where
into their
am I and
stream,
what
and
time
then you
is it?
compliment their voices,
Well, I don't think
and
I'm
then
really here. I think
you
that
get into a
I'm
voice
doing
chat
like
with
a
them. You
two-dimensional
embarrass
kind of
yourself in
thing.
front of
So
them, and they think you're
there's
adorable.
part of me that's here.
That's
and
how
then
you do
there's
it.
part of me that's somewhere else. The
Mhm.
future me. So, what time is it? Earthly time. It's 1:15 a.m. And there is no time where my future self is.
That was very specific.
You know how you, when you go to sleep,
Was
and you
it
dream,
raw?
How you can bend and shape
A little.
the events that take place in that dream? Well, what if that were your reality? And what if this were the dream? You know, you can actually paint your future and you can make everything that's ever happened, is happening, and will happen, has already happened.
Yeah, all these people
It's
are very drunk.
shape-shifting time and events.
Talking philosophy.
So that you know why your soul is here. And that's the purpose. To know why you're here. To know why you came back.
Mhm.
I know one past life I was a cowboy and I was shot by accident. And I've met 2 of my 4 buddies that I was with together. Here at we agreed to come back on some kind of subliminal basis. So yeah, I was a cowboy in one lifetime, probably right before the turn of the century. And my other lifetime, I really don't know, but I know I was crushed. And I don't know by what, but probably a large building. I haven't identified the time yet. I'm still working on that.
Mhm. How
Can
much you
I
want to
have,
bet that she was white in all these
Can I have a
timelines?
short stack, please? That's all. Thank you.
Not far away, in another booth, sit Danielle, who's 17, and Allison, 18. They're best friends. A month ago, because of problems at home, Danielle moved in with Allison's family. They both live in the basement there now. They've been driving in from the suburbs to the Golden Apple, hang out, meet friends. Guys mostly.
We're sitting here waiting for this guy, Jeff, who's hopefully gonna come.
We've just been coming here for the last 3 nights at about midnight, 1 o'clock. Just sitting here, waiting for random people to show up.
She kind of has a crush on this guy, and so we kind of come here in hopes to find him. It hasn't worked yet. Yeah, I paged him and told him to come here.
Paged him, no
Paged
answer.
him,
Paged
right,
him again,
2000.
no answer. Paged him again, no
Not
answer.
everyone
so
has
basically,
cell
we have
phones
no
yet.
life, so we come down here and wait for people. All right, phone call time. Do you have the number? Yeah, I have the number. All right, give me money.
Give me money.
All right, I am calling this guy Jeff, and I'm going to make him come here because my best friend wants him to. All right. And
It's a
it's
little
still
cute.
ringing. Hi, Jeff. We are at the Golden Apple, and I am wondering if you're at all coming because Allison kind of wants to see you, and I'm not going to stick around here all night because I have to sleep. So
But it's for his
hopefully
birthday, so I
you'll be
guess.
here
Yeah,
by
okay.
like 2. If not, call Allison tomorrow. All right, bye.
Sure.
And he'll be
Sure.
here. He'll be here. 6 messages on his.
Of course, this was
machine
back in
at
the year
home.
2000s, eh?
I just called Jeff and told him that he's not here, and he should be. I still think he will come. I just don't know when.
See, the thing that makes this a big deal is the fact that I think he actually might like me back, which doesn't happen ever. So that's why I want to see him again.
You want to know the really weird thing about us? Is she, hates herself. She never likes anyone ever. And whenever anything goes right, she freaks out.
Seriously, you say that there's so many people that like me, but how many times has it actually ever worked out? It's not hard for you because you're just like this massive guy magnet.
Massive
you act
guy
sometimes
magnet.
you don't see it. You see it. You gotta see it. Because we go somewhere and it's like whoosh and everyone's there by you. And not even just guys, you're just people like you know? Takes no effort. Just
You're wrong though, because it's not like I just get them like that. It's okay, I'll give you sometimes it just I don't know why, but sometimes it happens like that. And it's the fact that I talk and I'm not like boring and I don't just sit there.
I'm
no,
not
I'm not
boring.
saying you're boring. I'm just saying that that's what I'm not. People, like I said before, are robots and they're going to want to follow the life of the party. That's how people are. If you put an idea in their head, like if one person says you're a good kisser, you are deemed a good kisser forever and ever and ever.
Like, you have this thing where, like, you just, like, radiate positive vibes, you know? And you're always, like, upbeat, you know? When I've been, like, really outgoing or trying to be, you know, and, like, almost imitating you to see if it works. It doesn't work for me. And, you know, we're best friends, especially now that you live with me. It's like you're just always there. So the issue is always there. When you didn't live with me, you know, sometimes I'm not even thinking about it. I don't care. But now you're there all the time. And, you know, we've been, like, going out more. And it's always there.
It is 1:25 almost. Okay. I am calling my friend Marion in hopes that he is up.
Little, but they're teenagers.
Are you sleeping? You are.
I,
We're just at the restaurant and waiting for people.
There's some
and no one's
jealousy,
coming.
there's some resentment,
So
of course.
We were
There's
wondering, do you want us to come pick you up? Say yes.
it's just
So
how
come
it
back
is
here. Just say yes.
back then.
No, say yes. So don't go to sleep. Oh, come on. You know you love me. Thank you. I will be there to pick you up in like 2 minutes. Bye. So, we're here.
Hi, Maria.
I can't go anywhere.
You can't go anywhere. Get in the car.
Get the car.
Marion.
Mom has convinced me to stay.
Maria, go tell her that you have to come back to the restaurant.
I can't. I have to wake up at 8 tomorrow morning.
Marion? I'm gonna go beat you up.
Danielle, however, does not do such a good job convincing him with her fists. Actually, she doesn't try. He won't come. So she climbs back into the car to head back to meet Allison. She's waiting back at the Golden Apple.
Okay, me and Allison. I think that she feels like we're growing apart because I've kind of been mean lately. Not like too mean, but like she's my best friend. She will always be my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like now that we live together, we have constant each other, and it's just like we realize the things that we could overlook before are actual issues now. Like we're complete opposites. She doesn't like people. I love people. She likes staying home and reading. I can't stand staying home and I can't stand reading. And I mean, I don't like thinking.
I don't like thinking.
It's like thinking is something you do in school and then when you need to. And she's not like that, and that's very cool. I mean, it shows that, you know, she's not a robot or whatever, you know? But she's 17. She's only 17.
Mm-hmm.
And she acts like she's 23. She's, I guess, above, you know, the normal teenager. She thinks of things. She cares, you know? And that's what people in college do, and that's what, you know,
One
older
is
people do.
jealous of
But me and
their
most of all
social
my
intelligence.
friends,
The others are
we're not ready.
jealous
We're not,
of
we don't
their
want
actual
it, you know?
intelligence.
We
Well,
want
the
to just sit back and have fun.
academical intelligence.
I mean, she just needs to find the right people to hang out with. And for right now, it's not my thing. This is my thing. I like this scene where it's just like we're gonna sit back, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna laugh, we're just gonna let everything go, you know?
Mm.
Just like, all right.
And they live together. So I
Golden
guess
apple
that's why
scene.
it's coming up more.
Yeah.
Once she's back in the restaurant, after all this thinking about how she and Allison are so different, she heads over to her best friend. They've started a band together called Mixed Emotions. It's just the two of them. Allison plays guitar, they both sing. And they do one of their songs together, now, for the microphone.
Ready? Okay. So much for faith, so much for loving you, so much for everything you told me you would do. So much for love, you won't believe in me. So much for all the times you say you never leave. I needed you and thought you'd be there, but now I see the change in you. And now you just don't seem to care. So much for faith, so much for loving you.
They're scooching tight to each other near the mic as they sing. Allison sitting, Danielle standing, and leaning in close. And then, the thing that they have been waiting for all night finally happens.
You guys showed up?
Sort of.
Hey, I don't know you. I'm Julie.
Yeah, right here. This is Jeff. That's one. He's got a face That's for Billy. It is okay, yeah.
Oh, Billy's here.
It is 2:15 and they have finally arrived. Yeah, like
When we've given up all hope, they're here. It's the
I told you, I knew it. I never gave up faith.
They all sit down together. The guy who they've been waiting for, who they called 6 times, Jeff, he never arrived.
Oh.
But there is another Jeff with this group.
A different Jeff.
Allison transfers her crush to Jeff number 2.
Ah!
At some point, Danielle drags her outside the diner to confer. They stand on the sidewalk, just on the other side of the plate glass window from Jeff number 2 and everybody else. Allison reviews the facts of the case.
Well, it's just like, okay, he's into some of the supernatural stuff too, and we have a lot of things in common. Like, we're both big Tim Burton fans, and so I don't know. I actually had something to talk to him, about for hours now. But then again,
cute.
it's like, what's
It's
the point of,
awful.
like, him if he doesn't like
It's
me?
cute and it's awful. There you go.
No.
I'm just gonna go and be like, okay, here, look, I'm trying to hook her up, and
I'm trying.
hey, I was wondering, I'm trying to set Allison. I'll be slick. It'll be fun
For you, yeah.
Nice.
I'll give him a flower.
Nice to wing girl.
Come on, it'll be fun. If he says no, we just won't come out here ever again. Please.
Whatever else it might do for Allison if she were hooked up with somebody, it might just reduce the general level of tension between her and Danielle. And Danielle does not take no for an answer. She gives the flower to Jeff number 2, saying it's from Allison. He smiles a big number 2 smile. Then he and Allison sit alone at a table and talk for a while. Until Danielle comes over.
Are we leaving now? Yes, we paid, and we left tip, and I put the rest of the change in this little box here, and now we're leaving. It was fun. We got here at like 11:30, and it is now 3:15, and it is time to leave. So we'll be back tomorrow. Bye. Bye.
Cute. All Jeffs are the same. Yeah, you can totally transfer one crush on Jeff to another Jeff anytime you so wish.
By 4 a.m. Saturday morning, things
Very
are finally
easily.
starting to die down. Once again, like when we arrived the day before, it's mostly cab drivers and cops.
What was that show Lawrence was on? With Mel's Diner? What the hell's the name of that show? Alice? No,
These 2 police officers are sitting in a booth in front. Even on a break, they are required to wear 18-pound bulletproof vests. They call over their waitress, Donna.
I wonder if that works for
to help
Eric's.
settle this question.
that's Donna. Maybe she knows. Hey, Donna. Oh, no, thank you. What's the TV show with, where you're in the diner with the...
Mel's Diner with Al.
Flo was the redhead.
Flo was the one waitress.
It was Alice and Flo and Vera.
Yeah, it was Mel's Diner.
Vera was the dark hair. Flo
Definitely
was
not.
the Western.
Just
and
checking.
Alice was the one from New York.
But it was called Flo's, I think.
No, it wasn't called Flo.
No?
It was... I think it was Alice.
Yeah, I'm still. Now I won't be able to sleep today until I find out what the name of that show was. Well, I'm Officer Norman Knutson, and it's my partner.
Officer Clark Eichmann.
We work beat 1922 tonight in the 19th district. We're on a personal. Yeah, we're allowed as many personals as we want for coffee breaks, use the washroom, whatever. And it's almost 5 o'clock in the morning, a.m. Okay, 500 hours.
500 hours.
It's often, this district normally is slow, but on the weekends it's like any other district. Gun calls, fights, narcotics. It's real busy for 2 days a week and real slow for 5.
With all the bars on Lincoln and Clark, and even further up north on Lincoln, you can go from one job to another. One fight after fight after fight after fight. We had bar fight over at Irish
The
Eyes.
guy's gonna need plastic surgery. Yeah. Because he got hit with a beer stein in the face.
Sox fan versus Cubs fan. Okay, the Cubs fan got it in the face with a stein. And then we had another brawl over at Cubby Bear where we made 3 arrests. And we just got done with all the paperwork, and it's been, 2.5 hours on the paperwork.
Regular night in Chicago.
Total of 4 arrests. 4 arrests. First time to sit down and have a cup of coffee and relax and unwind. This is my regular hangout here. The golden pancake.
I don't know, you come here all the time.
I know. I come in here all the time. I used to know 2971 Lincoln. Mike is always hanging around, and then there's, Bob over there, sitting on the end. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Bob over
Donna,
there.
Mary, Dave, the one cab driver. I've come here quite a bit. Damon and Belmont.
There's a call right now, 3 blocks away. 3 guys with a gun. 3 blocks from here.
I'm getting description of a male, white, bald head, white t-shirt.
They're not supposed to be heading towards Barry, which is this way.
They can break our personal if they want. Our lunch break, they're not supposed to. But if it's a hot call, like this one might not even be bona fide.
Probably 8 out of every 10 calls are garbage. They're not. Now there's 2 calls. Now it might be legitimate.
One thing that happens is when you get a regular partner, and even some of you even work for the first night, you learn their first name, not just their last, and then where'd you work before? Are you married? He collects hockey cards. I collect monster memorabilia, models. I do model collecting. I collect a couple of guitars. I play the guitar, and then young things. But you create a bond. You even tell some intimate secrets. Things that even the wives don't know about. But you're creating a bond. People don't realize that. 90% of the job is you and your partner in the car. It can be a long night, or it can be a lot of fun.
The other thing is, if you don't feel like doing anything, on some nights, you don't have to. You might not get a call. You can chill out, drive around. You just kind of be off in a haze, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, squad, down here with the downer.
It's almost 5 o'clock in the morning, a.m. 3 more hours.
Yeah.
If we don't get a late arrest. 1922 is back with you.
They head toward the door.
Donna, we'll see you guys mañana.
Hasta la bye-bye, says Donna.
Hasta la bye-bye.
In 1902, once.
All right, see you guys all later.
The damn sun is coming up already.
The damn sun streaks its damn light through the cursed windows. Donna straightens things up a little, surveys the restaurant. She's the waitress that we first interviewed a full day before, the one who brings in cookies on Christmas for everybody. She eyes the morning regulars at the tables.
Well, it's now 5 o'clock, Saturday morning, and I got 1 hour and 45 minutes. And I know it sounds a little corny, but I really do enjoy it. As soon as it starts to get daylight, I start to feel good. And the day people come in, the nice smells, the nice clones. It's kind of wore off on the night people, but the day people is so fresh. It's nice, refreshing. Everybody else is getting sleepy, and I'm starting to wake up. Because I'm a day person that's been working nights for 26 years. But I'm handling it all right.
Our program was produced this week by Julie
Oh, it's
Snyder and
over.
myself with Alex
I
Bloomberg,
guess
Bruce
it makes
Shevney, and
sense.
Jonathan Goldstein. Other people who took shifts recording at the Golden Apple include Mary Wittenberg, Joe Richmond, who recorded Danielle and Allison. Wendy Dorr recorded The Policeman, Oscar and the 2 drunk women who would not go home with him, Tom and Scott, and the lady who explained Earthly Time. Nancy Updike's story was produced with a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting as part of HearingVoices.com. Many thanks to Tom and Nick and Pete, the owners of the Golden Apple, and dozens of customers that we interviewed over the course of the day. This show was recorded in July of 2000. The Golden Apple still stands at Lincoln Avenue, where it hits Southport. My recommendation is the feta cheese omelet. Additional production for today's program by Aviva de Kornfeld, Stowe Nelson, and Matt Tierney. Our website, thisamericanlife.org, where you can stream over 600 episodes of our program for absolutely free. See all kinds of videos we've made over the years, the musical we did on stage, favorites lists, staff recommendations. Again, thisamericanlife.org, or get our app, which has all that stuff, and you can download as many episodes as you want. This American Life is delivered to public radio stations by PRX, the Public Radio Exchange. Thanks, as always, to our program's co-founder, Mr. Troy Malatia, who's always reminding me.
I'm a journalism major, by the way. Yeah. So I understand what you're doing right now.
I'm Ira Glass. Back next week with more stories of This American Life.
Good episode. First one was better, though. But first one's hard to top. Oh, 24 hours at the Golden Apple. Let's get another episode up. I didn't think I'd be listening to 3 of them, but like I'm really in the mood. How about an episode from December 2000? The Y2K bug's about to hit. Oh no, that was 1999 to 2000, right? But it looks like this was a live show tape for their 5th anniversary. Oh, that's cute. Birthdays, anniversaries, and milestones.
With the holiday season about to begin, it's a show about holidays and milestones of all kinds. Today's This American Life was taped a few years back in front of a live audience. When the big day finally arrives, the day you've been waiting for, it's like the invisible is made visible. And sometimes you look at it and you think, that's it? For weeks before his 11th birthday, Jason wanted a party at a roller rink with all his friends. He'd never had a birthday party. So he invites 11 friends, gets their RSVPs, and comes the big day. The party room at the roller rink is his.
And we waited around, and we're waiting there for around a half hour, and none of my friends had, none of the invited guests had arrived. And
oh, no.
So they put us in the room, and my mom asked me, well, where is everybody? Where is everybody? And saying, well, I don't know where everybody is. Well, didn't they say they'd be here? Yeah, they said they'd be here. All I had this vivid image marked on my brain of a table and 10 chairs around the table and all of these sundaes, these white sundaes with hot fudge on them, 10 empty chairs, 10 uneaten sundaes.
It's like the Last Supper, you know, but if none of the apostles made it.
Exactly.
To this day, Jason still cannot explain it. He had friends at school. He was always picked first for kickball. The next year, his cat, a cat that was the same age as he was, died on his birthday.
Oh.
Another year, his aunts and uncles accidentally set fire to the back of his house. In preparing for today's program, I have heard lots of horrifying birthday stories. Matt was robbed on his birthday. Lynn's home was destroyed by an earthquake. Sarah had a tree that was planted the day she was born, and on her 17th birthday, lightning hit the tree. It burned to the ground. How do you not see that as symbolic of something? Years after Jason's party at the roller rink, the one where nobody showed up, his girlfriend still asks him about it, and she asks him about it a lot. It must explain something about who he is today.
And I have to point out again that I don't think, at least, that I was a loser when I was growing up. But the thing is, as much as I say that that it happened, I had this birthday party that only one person went to, and that's going to hold stronger than anything that I could possibly say to convince her that I was not a loser.
Certain days have symbolic meaning whether we want them to or not. That's why it's important, I think, to overcompensate, to go big, throw a huge party, surround yourself with people, make a lot of noise. That is why, my friends, today, on the 5th anniversary of our radio show, we have come out here to be with you in this huge theater from WBEZ Chicago and Public Radio International. It's This American Life. I'm Ira Glass.
Hey, witness.
Our program recorded today on a 4-city tour of New York, Boston, Chicago, and Los Angeles, a co-production with radio stations WNYC, WBUR, WBEZ, and KCRW. Many, many thanks to them. Today on our program, birthdays, anniversaries, milestones of all sorts. And what do they really mean anyway? Act 1, Pilgrim's Progress. Sarah Val takes over the family Thanksgiving dinner by bringing everyone to New York City. Babies crying, birds a-dying, people sighing, Ellis Island. Island. Act 2, Kodak Moments of the Dead.
Kodak Moments.
The story of a young funeral director who is updating one of our most sacred and oldest rituals of commemoration. Doing something that even other
no one
funeral
would understand
directors
today.
find very, very strange. Act 3, Birthday Gift. Russell Banks has a story that unfolds so cleanly and pleasingly that really, I have to say, the less said about it at this point, the better. Music throughout our hour from Chicago pop music sensation OK Go. Stay with us. Act 1, Pilgrim's Progress. We are a nation whose national holidays are usually more about getting together with family and friends than actually commemorating the past. When Labor Day rolls around, I do not think that many of us review the history of Haymarket Square or the fight for the 8-hour workday, even in this crowd. I will confess that I was actually well into my 20s before I fully understood that Veterans Day and Memorial Day are actually two separate holidays with separate meanings, and not just one holiday that comes around a lot. This does not mean that our big national holidays do not contain deep commemorative meaning to us. It's just that I think that the meaning is often personal. Sarah Val is one of our contributing editors. She says this year her family broke with all its traditions on Thanksgiving and launched into an entirely new era as a family. Please welcome her.
When I invited my mom and dad to come to New York City to have Thanksgiving at my house, I never expected them to say yes. Not only had they never been to New York, they had never been east of the Mississippi, nor had they ever visited me. I've always had these fantasies about being in a normal family in which the parents come to town and their adult daughter spends their entire visit daydreaming of suicide. I'm here to tell you that dreams really do come true.
That's terrible.
I was terrified we wouldn't have enough to talk about. In the interest of harmony, there's a tacit agreement in my family. The following subjects are best avoided in any conversation longer than a minute and a half. National politics, state and local politics, any music by any person who never headlined at the Grand Ole Opry,
Okay.
my personal life, and their so-called God.
All right. So, what's left?
5 whole days. When I visit them back home in Montana, conversation isn't a problem because we go to the movies every afternoon. That way, we can be together, but without the burden of actually talking to each other. Tommy Lee Jones does the talking for us. Bless his heart, that is a public service. But my sister Amy is bringing her, shall we say, lively 7-month-old son Owen along, so the cinema is not an option, which means 5 days together, just us, no movies. We are headed into uncharted and possibly hostile lands, pioneers in a new world. It is Thanksgiving. The Pilgrims had the Mayflower. I buy a gravy boat. It's lucky that Amy's coming with Mom and Dad. Amy still lives 6 blocks away from them in Bozeman. She would act as interpreter and go-between among my parents and me. Like Squanto.
Squanto?
Amy's husband Jay has decided to stay home in Montana to go deer hunting with his brother. Everyone else arrives at my apartment in Chelsea. Amy and Owen are bunking with me, so I walk my parents around the corner to check them into their hotel on 23rd. Here we are, says Mom, stopping under the awning of the Chelsea Hotel. There she stands, a woman whose favorite book is called simply Matthew.
Oh. That's funny.
Right on the spot where the cops hauled Sid Vicious out in handcuffs after his girlfriend was found stabbed to death on their hotel room floor. No, Mother, I say, taking her arm and directing her down the block to the Chelsea Savoy, a hotel where they go to the trouble to clean the rooms each day. It is around this time, 20 minutes into their trip, that my dad starts making wisecracks like, "Boy, kid, bet you can't wait till we're out of here."
With that
My father,
attitude.
a man who moved us 1,600 miles away from our
Weird
Oklahoma relatives so he
moment.
wouldn't have to see them anymore, makes a joke on average every 2 hours he is here about how much I...
It's definitely a weird part of this episode, that's for sure. Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, she's just recounting a tale of her parents visiting her, and apparently they do not get along at all. So but they're meeting up for Thanksgiving. So this is the experience that she is having, and that's what she's saying. What am I listening to? This is This American Life. It's a podcast that's been around for like 30 years now, something like that. I enjoy it. It's a bi-weekly podcast. This is a very old episode from the year 2000. I'm listening to older episodes right now to catch up. But, like, they have, over 850 episodes right now. It's linked, it's pinned up there if you ever want to check it out. For this specific episode, or other episodes, because I really do recommend this podcast. It's just nice little stories on many different topics. And this one is about anniversaries, birthdays, and milestones. And this one is about Thanksgiving, specifically. American Thanksgiving, to be precise. Yeah. And I just like to listen to little podcasts when I play Power Wash. It's just nice and relaxing. Get little dings so the dopamine fills in. I get to listen to some stories. It's nice. It's nice. Alright, sounds good, Ash. Oh, lurk for a meeting at noon? That's awful. That's awful. Alright, back to the episode.
I'm anticipating the second they'll say goodbye. I find this charming, but so disturbingly true I don't know what to say.
Oh.
By halfway through the first day, I discover I needn't have worried about what we would talk about with the baby preventing us from seeing movies. When you have a baby around, the baby is the movie. We occupy an entire entertaining hour just on drool, non-narrative drool.
Yay.
Then there's the sightseeing. First stop, Ellis Island. The thing about going to Ellis Island is that it's a lot like going to Ellis Island. Perhaps to help you better understand the immigrant experience, they make you stand in line for the crammed ferry for an hour and a half in the windy cold.
Yay.
By the time we step onto the island, we are huddled masses yearning to be free. Our great-grandmother Ellen passed through here on her way from Sweden. We watch a video on the health inspections given to immigrants.
I hear you, Kiwi. I hear you so loud and clear. I hate those meetings.
Past oodles of photos of men in hats and women in shawls. Though no one says anything, I know my father and mother and sister are thinking what I'm thinking. They're thinking about when we moved away from Oklahoma to Montana, how unknown that
Ça va
was,
super
how
bien.
strange and lonesome.
Relax.
I read a letter in a
On
display case
espère.
that says, and I never saw my mother again.
So good.
And I think of my grandfather, how we just drove off, leaving him behind, waving to us in the rearview mirror. And here we are in New York, because here I am in New York, because ever since Ellen's father brought her here, every generation moves away from the one before. It is curious that we Americans have a holiday, Thanksgiving, that's all about people who left their homes for a life of their own choosing, a life that was different from their parents' lives. And how do we celebrate it? By hanging out with our parents. It's as if on the 4th of July, we honored our independence from the British by playing cricket and nibbling on crumpets.
Seems legit. Means up for now. Nice, Skip.
Thanksgiving morning, my parents take Owen to see the Macy's parade while Amy and I start making dinner. Let me repeat that. My mother leaves while I cook. Specifically, cornbread dressing, a dish my mother has made every Thanksgiving since before I was born. To her credit, she has not inquired about my process since she phoned to ask me if she should bring cornmeal in her suitcase. As an Okie, my mom only uses white cornmeal processed by the Shawnee Company in Muskogee. She does not even consider my cornbread to be cornbread at all because I make it with yellow cornmeal and heresy sugar. You don't make...
C'est un peu dommage qu'il faut que t'ailles au bureau. It's a little sad I have to go to the office, but... I mean, if that's what you want... I just loaf around at home. It's like, oh no, no remote task. Oh, nobody assigned me anything. Whoopsie.
cornbread, she told me in the same deflated voice she uses to describe my hair. You make Johnny cake. I'm standing at the cutting board chopping sage, and it hits me what it means that she's letting me be in charge of the dressing. I am going to die. Being in charge of the dressing means you're a grown-up for real, and being a grown-up for real means you're getting old, and getting old means you are definitely, finally, totally going to die.
J'écoute de quoi en même temps. C'est fini en haut. Ça s'appelle This American Life. C'est un podcast qui existe depuis 30 ans maintenant. Puis j'aime ça. C'est un vieux épisode d'il y a 25 ans. C'est à propos de... Présentement, c'est à propos d'une histoire d'une femme qui a ses parents, puis sa soeur, puis son neveu qui visitent pour l'Action de grâce américaine. Puis ça va bien, ouais, ça va super bien. Yep. La seule chose que tu vas entendre du jeu, c'est ça, puis ding, comme... Oui, ding, ding. C'est la seule chose que tu entends du jeu.
My mother is a grandmother, and my sister is a mother, and I have decided the dressing will be yellow this year. Therefore, we'll all be dead someday. Happy holidays. I have invited 2 of my New York friends to join us for dinner, and I was a little nervous about how everyone would get along. To my delight, the meal is smooth and congenial. My friends and I talk about the West Nile virus killing birds on Long Island. My father counters with a lovely anecdote about an open copper pit in Butte that filled up with contaminated rainwater and killed 250 geese in one day.
Ah.
There's nothing like eating one dead bird and talking about a bunch of other dead birds to really bring people together.
Yeah.
The next morning, right about the time Owen starts to cry, while simultaneously my mother jams the bathroom door and my father's on his hands and knees prying it open with a penknife, a cloud passes over me. Once or twice a day, I am enveloped inside what I like to call the impenetrable shield of melancholy. This shield, it is impenetrable, hence the name. I cannot speak, and while I can feel myself freeze up, I can't do anything about it. Everybody in the family goes through these little spells. I just happen to be the spooky one at this particular moment. When people ask me if I'm the black sheep of the family, I always say that no, we're all black sheep. Every few hours they're here, I look over at my dad, nervously crunching his fingers together. If he were at home for Thanksgiving, he'd be ignoring us and spending all his time in his shop. The thing that unites us is that all four of us are homebody claustrophobes who prefer to be alone and are suspicious of other people. So the trait that binds us together as a family, preferring to keep to ourselves, makes it difficult to be together as a family. Paradoxically, it's at these times that I feel closest to them, that I understand them best, that I love them most. It's just surprising we ever breed. The next day, we do the most typical thing we could possibly do as a family. We split up. By the time we all reconvene on Saturday evening, my ragged mother becomes so ambitious with her sightseeing that I can tell she's decided that she's never coming back. You guys want to go to Rockefeller Center? I ask, and she says, yeah, because who knows when I'll be back again. Ditto the Empire State Building, because who knows when I'll be back again. If any of you are visiting the Empire State Building, may I offer some advice? If you are waiting in the very long line for the very last elevator, and an attendant says that anyone who wants to walk up the last 6 flights may do so now, right away, and you are with your aging parents and a sister who is carrying a child the size of a fax machine, stay in line for the elevator. But if you must take the stairs, go first and do not look back. Otherwise, your parents will look like one of those Renaissance frescoes of Adam and Eve being expelled from the Garden of Eden, all hunched over and afraid. So we make it to the observation deck. Brooklyn to the south of us, New Jersey to the west. Places that people fled to from far away, places that people now run away from to make another life. It's dark and cold and windy, and we're sweaty from climbing the stairs. It's really pretty, though. And there we stand, side by side, sharing a thought like the family we are. My sister wishes she were home. My mom and dad wish they were home. I wish they were home, too. Thank you.
Bye-bye, baby. Sybil says as she walks out the door, you can bet that Hollywood was out so good and much better than it ever has before. So my pets have left me in search of careers and richer souls, heading off to purebred friends and happy ends, and any way to prove I just Lord, la la, ooh, la la. So take me to winter, as if it was discontent I'd see. I'll live with a madman there and pull my hair, 'cause lunacy is everything I need.
Okay, go. Act 2, Kodak Moments of the Dead. Not long ago, one of our producers, Starlee Kine, went to the funeral of a relative of hers in Los Angeles. There were 4 eulogies, ending with Starlee's grandmother, Goldie, who did a grand stemwinder of a speech, inspiring and moving and heartfelt. So Goldie finishes and sits back down between her 88-year-old sister Viv on one side and Starlee on the other. And then, on a big TV screen in front of the chapel, a video begins. The grandmother cannot believe it. She nudges her sister Viv, stage whispering, "Have you ever?" On screen are pictures of the deceased. Black and white on the beach is a young man, a wedding shot with his wife, the obligatory goofy shot of him in a dress with his buddies. The photos were selected by the family and set to a musical soundtrack, which was also selected by the family, these being Jews, my people. As you might guess, there is only one real choice about the music. Really, no choice at all. Barbara. Auntie Viv audibly exclaims, "Oy vey." Grandma Goldie responds, "Oy Viv." What? But here's the thing. People are crying. They're crying more than they cried during the eulogies. Later, after the burial, back at the house, everybody watches the video over and over. They laugh, they cry, they rewind, they replay. Barbara hasn't had a hit like this since Yentl. So I went to visit the cemetery where all this happens, where the cost of a grave or a crypt includes a personalized video to be shown at your funeral, to be posted for eternity on the internet, to be viewed on video screens scattered semi-tastefully throughout the cemetery grounds. This whole scheme is the brainchild of the impossibly young and impossibly handsome Tyler Cassidy and his brother Brent. They grew up in St. Louis. Their dad was also in the funeral business. And they bought a rundown Hollywood cemetery 3 years ago when Tyler was 27 and renamed it Hollywood Forever. Funerals, mind you, present the same questions that any anniversary or milestone presents. How do you mark the passing of time? How do you capture the span of a life so it can be commemorated and remembered? And Tyler says that the way that most American funerals address this question is with a ritual and technology that have not really changed very much since the Civil War. The big innovation during the Civil War was embalming. Embalming preserved a person's body for a week or so, like you ship them home from a battlefield. But during the Civil War, it became widespread, and it popularized this kind of funeral, the kind that we know today, where the body is dressed up and put on display during the service.
You want to pump fluid into that body so it seems kind of lifelike, pink fluid. And you want to paint the face. A mortician feels like he succeeded if the family says, "Look, he looks so alive." Whereas our enhancement to that is that you show video of the person, media that in some way has captured life. And that media is 100 times stronger than an altered body. Our colleagues rebelled at the idea of having any type of screen in a chapel or near a body, and yet they were holding tight to this tradition of embalming and face painting and extreme doctoring of the body to try and make it look alive. The moment we put a screen in there, from that moment on, there was always a huge increase in the emotion of that service. That's when you started to have everyone crying. That's when you started to have laughter, tears, celebration. That screen, once you put that in there, the whole thing changed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you listen to this, you will hear the voices of your ever-loving mother and your dear father normally known as Mom and Dad.
This is a video made of a kindly and endearing couple named Dorothy and Lester Schaefer. They're sitting on lawn chairs in the backyard. It's not bad. They're affectionate. They goad each other on. They are genuinely funny. We hear, for example, the story of how the Schaefers met on a school trip to the zoo.
Really? On the path between the bear pits and the monkey cage.
Right between the bear pits and the monkey cage. Well, we started dating then, and every time we'd have a date,
It rained.
it rained. I used to call her my raindrop.
Huge.
As it turns out, in deciding to make videos which somehow capture what somebody is all about to preserve for eternity, Tyler and his brother have accidentally stumbled on a rather difficult artistic project. You get a sense of the Schaefers on their video, but only because of their own force of personality. They're charming. Most of the videos made at the cemetery lack this kind of character, so much so that it reminds you just how hard it is to do, to capture somebody on film. At times, your heart goes out to the people in the videos. For instance, when they're asked by the filmmakers to leave a message to the future, you can almost see the flop sweat from the other side. What would you say? On the spot, really. This next clip is from a video made by a 40-ish man who's actually still alive, named Steve Goldstein, who was asked to leave a few words of wisdom to the future.
I guess if I had to say something along those lines, it would be the most important thing in life is to learn to love each other, learn to get along, respect each other's differences, appreciate your differences, celebrate your failures as much as your successes, because that's how you grow. You can't succeed without failing.
He continues with aphorisms like this for a while, ending with,
My life's been great. I have no regrets. I honestly have no regrets, except for some mistake I made on a game show once a long time ago. I could have won a lot of money. Aside from that, I have no regrets.
I love you more.
Doing these, and it's kind of like a robot. They come, they go. I do the next one. It's kind of like I'm a machine. I just do it. So our emotions are kind of gone.
Norman Brown is one of 3 editors who assemble these videos at computer workstations in a big high-ceilinged room on the cemetery grounds. The feeling part of the job is done by women, 4 women, who talk with the families, gather photos, and give shot-by-shot instructions to the editors. As video production goes, this is factory work. 90% of the videos are cut-and-paste jobs. Just a series of photos, which appear on screen for 10 seconds each, with a pop song on the soundtrack, thrown together in a few hours after somebody dies to play at the funeral service. Often a family member narrates, explaining what the pictures are.
Do people ever say, you know, well, my dad was a drunk?
No. Nothing like that. Nothing at all.
We had a hard time seeing eye to eye. We didn't always get along. I think they were disappointed in me sometimes.
No, none of that. We don't get any. Oh, he was a drug addict. He was, you know, an unfit father, and
he wasn't always faithful to my mom.
No, we have no affairs. Yeah, none of that. We don't say, yeah, he was, you know, a horn dog or anything. This, you know, everything is positive.
Which seems, I have to say, completely appropriate to the occasion and the task at hand. At any milestone event, an anniversary, a birthday, a funeral, even a national holiday, I think we do not want the whole picture. I think we want a pretty picture.
I don't think we're dealing with honesty in this right here. This is not the whole, I mean, you gotta look at the purpose of what is the purpose of, you know, you're going to this funeral.
At that moment, at that funereal moment, at that moment of death, we do want as much good as we can. We do want as many good memories as we can.
Tyler Cassidy says that it's hard enough to get through the death of someone we love. Of course this is what we want. Tyler and his brother have only been making funeral videos for a few years, and they definitely see it as a work in progress, something that they're still figuring out. But all this thinking about how you preserve memories has led Tyler to start collecting his own scrapbooks, documenting his own life. He keeps 2 of these photo albums in his office. And when I ask him to flip through the pages, he comes to one photo which leads him to tell this story. It's a story which starts off at a family vacation and ends up at this cemetery, at his job, at this video project. The photo is of a fishing boat called La Victoria, taken on vacation when Tyler was just a teenager.
And that's my father that you can make out there. And unknown to me, my mother had found a letter from a girl I know, and she was writing this long plea to me to realize that I wasn't actually gay, because I had told her that I was gay. So for the first 3 days of this trip, everyone in the family was treating me as though I had died or something. They would just kind of like not speak directly to me. They were having difficulty looking at me. And so my mother concocted this plan to get my father and I on this all-day fishing trip, in which he was supposed to ask me at a certain point. And so here we are, being all macho on La Victoria.
He's supposed to ask you, are you gay?
Yes, on this fishing expedition, which was funny in itself because it's like this Hemingway-esque test of manhood to be out here. And I actually was the one to get the giant tuna. I was reeling in the tuna, and it was exactly as you see it in the movies. It was really hurting my hands, and people are gathered around me wanting me to reel this in and egging me on, and then I finally get it up, and it's this big, beautiful, huge tuna, actually the one in this shot, that's almost human-sized, and it was gorgeous, and it falls on the floor, and everyone gathers around and stabs it, and I shriek, "Don't kill it.
Don't kill it!"
It seemed like this very telling moment. And I don't know if that answered my father's question.
Tyler had moved to New York for college and stayed, partly to flee the family funeral business.
Yeah, it was kind of ironic. I thought I was going to leave death finally, you know, and the father's business. It was all around caskets and death, and I went much deeper into the heart of death when I got there. I was gay, and I went there to come out, and New York seemed like a good place, but I arrived in 1988, which was kind of the apex or the heart of the epidemic. So
the AIDS epidemic.
The AIDS epidemic. It was everyone was in mourning. Everybody knew someone who was dying. There was always the thought that we could be dying because everyone was. And so I think for a good 6 years I was more obsessed about dying and death than I'd ever been. And yet at the same time there's more people who didn't follow any type of tradition I had seen. Maybe some people threw a nightclub party, and that was in their will. I want you all to have fun. I want you all to dress in drag. Someone else had a dance ceremony, a poetry reading. The form kind of seemed broken. And I think that
the form of a funeral.
Of a funeral. And in being broken, it was much more powerful. It served a purpose again. And I think I didn't ever think I was going to go home and return to the business, but it affected completely how I looked at it.
I mean, literally, you came to feel like the traditional funeral wasn't powerful enough to contain people's feelings.
Yeah, definitely. The traditional funeral in terms of clergymen, one eulogy, and some last rites of some sort.
In Los Angeles, he couldn't have chosen a better spot for adding movies to funerals. The rundown cemetery he and his brother bought is where lots of luminaries from the first generation of motion pictures are buried. People like Rudolph Valentino, Peter Lorre, Cecil B. DeMille, Bugsy Siegel, on a huge piece of land just next door to the Paramount Studios back lot. Just a short walk from where Norman and his colleagues edit these sort of fake, sort of real videotapes for eternity are the sound stages, where the pleasingly sort of fake, sort of real worlds of Frasier and Moesha are filmed. As you walk through the cemetery, you see the intrusion of new technology here and there. Recent headstones made with photographs engraved right into the rock, made possible by a new kind of laser and computer technology. So far, it's mostly Russian and Armenian immigrants who go for this. A man named Simon King, in a jacket, no tie, stares out from his own tombstone with this badass glare like, even though he has passed over to the other side, if you mess with him, he can still take you down. Not far from there is one of the video touchscreens in the shade by a wall. You can call up any video they've made, and we choose a name. Turns out to be a young woman, maybe 30. As the song Can You Feel the Love Tonight plays from The Lion King, photos flash by, 10 seconds each. Here she is in the hospital. Here she is in shot after shot with a baby that must be hers. Then more hospital photos, holding her baby, trying to smile. It is impossibly sad, sadder than I can even convey to you here. There we are, in the bright Los Angeles sun, cars going by just yards away from us, a dead young mom on the TV, and we're mourning somebody we've never met. I think Tyler's right about all this. I think if you were just walking by a stranger's tombstone and saw their name chiseled there on the rock, you'd never get this feeling. Coming up, it's my birthday, and I'll lie if I want to. Or is it a lie? In a minute, from Public Radio International, when our program continues. This American Life. I'm Ira Glass. Each week in our program, of course, we choose some theme, bring you a variety of different kinds of stories on that theme. Today's program, to commemorate our 5th year on the air, birthdays, anniversaries, milestones of all sorts, how we mark them, what they mean, even when we want them to mean nothing. Our program today taped on our 5th anniversary tour of New York, Boston, Chicago, and Los Angeles. And I have to say that we are honored at this point to have a special birthday greeting for the show, recorded by one of my radio heroes, Terry Gross.
Salut, c'est Glapince. Comment il va? J'espère qu'il va bien. Hello, hello.
Which incredibly is...
Je suis en train d'écouter un podcast américain il y a 25 ans. Je fais juste chill. C'est tout. On fait juste chill aujourd'hui. On est bien. J'espère que tu passes une excellente journée.
Celebrating its 25th year on the air this year. It makes us just look like little kids up here. She recorded this special message for us from her studio at WHYY in Philadelphia.
Ouais, ben, le pire, c'est que le mot podcast, il a été créé en 2004. Fait que ça, c'est avant même qu'un podcast s'appelle podcast. Dans le bon vieux temps où c'est que les podcasts étaient juste à la radio. Tu sais que iTunes n'existe pas encore, Spotify n'existe pas, YouTube n'existe pas, Facebook n'existe pas. On est dans l'an 2000 présentement. Google commence, c'est pas gros. On est plus sur Ask Jeeves. Avant, c'était MP3 sur une page HTML, puis qu'est-ce que les gens le trouvent. Exactement. Exactement. Dans le temps. Dans le temps. T'es l'accent de chez vous. T'es eu ça pendant 20 ans, donc tu parles moins au québécois. Ah, ben, si tu veux quelqu'un qui parle beaucoup québécois, tu devrais suivre mon cher ami ici, Monsieur PL, qui lui stream exclusivement en québécois. Oups, c'est pas ça, c'est SO, Monsieur PL. Moi, je te conseille fortement d'aller suivre Monsieur ici, qui fait du contenu incroyable, en bon vieux québécois. Tu vas aimer ça. Puis nous, par ici, on parle un peu plus en anglais qu'en français. Juste te dire d'avance. Tu me parles en français, je te parle en français. Mais sinon, si y a personne qui me parle, je parle en anglais. C'est un petit anglo. Une tête carrée. Comme on dirait. Mais ouais. Kiwi tu vas aimer ça chez eux. Ça, je peux te le garantir. Moi, je l'appelle Kiwi. Ça, c'est juste parce que je le connais IRL. What was I doing? I'm gonna trim fascia. Fascia. There we go. Fascia. Desire. There we go. Now working as a consultant for smaller studios. Oh yeah? That sounds cool. Depuis à peu près l'existence de ce podcast? 1995? I don't know. I don't know. Where am I located in Quebec? Ontario. That's where I'm located in Quebec. Little Anglo-Saxon. Proud to be of French roots, but yeah. Celui-ci, ce podcast-ci, cet épisode est vieux de 25 ans. C'est vrai. Mais en effet, j'ai pas précisé que l'émission existe depuis 30 ans. I'm a little Ontarian here. People dislike me for that. Oh no. How's the parrot's life? How's the small studio life? Is it better than Ubisoft? I'm sensing it's better than Ubisoft. I've heard they don't treat their employees very well. Working with Indie Studio, nice. On a new game that is similar to Power Rush. Ooh. Give me a link. Give me a link. I want to wishlist it or something. I love these games. I have so many cleaning games. Give me a link. I want to know all the things. Donne-moi tout. Game is now listed on scene. Clean up Earth. Ooh. Oh, Earth. Yeah. I'm gonna just show the... Ooh, little jet here. Coming soon. I'm gonna just switch scenes here. So let's take a look at this. Is there a video on YouTube? This thing. I don't like the size of Steam here. YouTube.com. Earth. YouTube.com. Earth by Magic Pockets. See what we got here. There we go. This is a review. All right, let's listen to the trailer first. Oh, there is no trailer? No trailer yet, but we got images. Let's see the review.
The whole time I played, I was mostly thinking a Power Wash Simulator. It feels a little similar in the way that you clean certain locations, but rather than just cleaning dirt and grime off statues and buildings,
clean up Earth.
you're just picking up garbage. Though the concept may sound kind of...
Got a video. Download the demo, which is on Steam. That's for sure. Thanks for store, meaningful journey. I want a video.
boring to some. I actually found myself enjoying the game quite a lot once I got used to everything, which leads me to my first.
Okay, so it's vacuum based. I like that.
Need a tutorial. The game's controls are really simple, but my lazy ass didn't bother looking at the controls, and I was stuck.
No trailer yet? That's fine.
Objects for a while.
But I like the idea that it's a vacuum. That's really cool. It looks like you can't get the big objects yet, so you're going to concentrate on the small stuff, the confetti.
With a blue circle on the ground,
oh.
Picking the bigger objects with a green circle on the ground. I thought you just had to pick up a lot of objects to force the device to upgrade. This isn't the case at all. You actually change modes using the scroll wheel. So apparently at one point I accidentally bumped the scroll wheel without noticing. This caused the mode to change, and my idiotic brain thought somehow I got an upgrade.
Love it.
Even though I was stupid enough to not know what was going on until just deciding to use the scroll wheel again, This led me to an idea I had for the game, which is
Oh, this is good.
simulator and the water spring sound.
I want this. Sound needs work. Sound needs work. It's too crunchy. It's too crunchy. Mmm. Not too crunchy.
Like to when speaking on the whole ASMR quality.
Brother Brandon, Clean Up Earth or Clean Earth Odyssey? Oh, definitely Clean Earth Odyssey. Clean Up Earth, it brings too much of our Earth, saying like there's no way we can clean up all the trash out there. But Clean Earth Odyssey, like, oh, like it's an adventure to clean up like an Earth, like soil rather than the planet. Clean Earth Odyssey. Oh, much better. Yeah, definitely not Clean Up Earth. Clean Up Earth is plus it has a negative connotation. Clean up is a task. You don't want this associated to a task, a chore. Clean up versus just clean, as in the word could be an adjective. Clean earth, like it's the adventure of a clean earth. Clean being an adjective rather than a verb. You don't want clean up to be the verb here. Like, also the crunchy sound is. Maybe I could get used to it. You hear the crunchy sound again.
The game does play a pretty satisfying. Another thing I do like.
Yeah, sound is very important when it comes to these, because you want all the autistic people to get this. But yeah, definitely Clean Earth Odyssey. The Clean Up Earth is, yeah. You can convince the studio if you could. Yeah, absolutely, sure. Absolutely. What do you find most appealing? Clean Earth. Has to be. Which game would you be more curious to start? Clean Earth Odyssey. What does each title make you imagine? Relaxation, simulation, landscapes is Odyssey. Cleaning, satisfying, appeasing, cozy. Yay, beauty. Pride, travel, positive impact. College. Positive impact could go either way. Ecology, good deed, immersion, either. I can see some good aspects for Clean Up Earth, but like some Clean Earth Odyssey could be something else. My age range. I'm an autistic 30-something-year-old. Okay. You play relaxing simulation games? Yes, often. There we go. Absolutely. There you go. Submitted. Cleaners Odyssey. Oh yeah, like you could get that like nomenclature. Cleaners Odyssey. I can see that. That's not bad though. You just don't really. You specifically don't want a verb in your title, which is clean up. It will sound too much like a chore. It will sound too much like a chore rather than a pleasant, relaxing experience. When you have relaxing, you need passive. Very much passive in wording. I know this is like very specific and to language. But another game. Oh, what is that? Game mop green. Let's see. I'm thinking. Video game. Speedrun. What's that game that is always playing? The Scottish player. Fair Jane, he's always playing this game. Dust Force. Like Dust Force, it's an adventure. It's 2D, sure, but it's like it has nothing to do like with an action to clean. Power wash simulator. Nothing about action. Other games that I've played that are about cleaning in my Steam inventory. Oh. Let's see. I finished one not too long ago. What was it called? Fresh Start Cleaning Simulator. Like no active verbs, like a lovely fresh start when you just had to clean everything so that everything could grow back. It was lovely. Yeah, no place like yeah, there you go. You already said it. Doesn't that work? You would have joined Power Wash? Yeah. I love these. I love these games so much. Ooh. Great game that I love too, but it just spices up my little brain. Is oh god, Hard Space Shipbreaker, so good. Just tear things apart one little bit at a time. Everything goes in its little spot. It's lovely. It's lovely. Love Shipbreaker. Plus that audio track in Shipbreaker. Mwah. Top notch. Yep. Cool. If you need anything else from me, like absolutely, I am down. I'm totally saving this. I already wish listed it. I'm saving this here. Do you have a Discord? Yes, you do. So I'm gonna check that out later. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. This wait. You have anything else? You have an itch.io. Oh, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. You don't have to, but I'm definitely checking all this out. Okay, there's your little demo here. Cute. Yeah, I'm definitely more going to be a PC user when it comes to this, but I can totally see the controller. Yo. I can see that. Relax and restore. Yay. Cute. Cute. Like, I'm sure I will. I'm looking forward to it. All of the stuff I filled in your little form. I got your site saved. Little wishes. If anybody else wants to check this out, that's checking this out right now. There's the Steam link. Oh, man. This looks fun. I can already see like all the little adapters. Like you can have like all these little technologies here for like snow and stuff. Maybe you're gonna have like maybe we're gonna have to clear up the snow, clear up the paths too. Maybe we're gonna have to supply water so that things can refreeze because we have to affect the temperature of areas. I hope there's little animals in this. There better be little animals, or at least like after you clean up and then you do a little cutscene, like there's like, oh, there's fishies coming back, or like a little penguin comes back. The little touches. Plan for PC and consoles early 2026. Wow, that's soon. That is very soon. Good luck. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, well, anything else you need? I'm there. I'm gonna check out the Discord later. But I'm gonna get back and finish cleaning this house because I'm running out of time. I gotta get going soon-ish. So I want to finish this out. Hey, absolutely. I'm excited. You got me excited. Yay. Yeah. Bye-bye. Nice. Okay, we need more people like that to come. I want more game developers to give me more of their games.
5 years, huh? Suppose after 5
today's program. Ooh, yeah. You're also gonna wish this is nice. Yeah. Poor Pichu who can't play cleaning.
To commemorate our 5th year on the air. Birthdays, anniversaries, milestones of all sorts, how we mark them, what they mean, even when we want them to mean nothing. Our program today taped on our 5th anniversary tour of New York, Boston, Chicago, and Los Angeles. And I have to say that we are honored at this point to have a special birthday greeting for the show, recorded by one of my radio heroes, Terry Gross of Fresh Air. Which, incredibly, is celebrating its 25th year on the air this year.
I don't know what that
it
is.
Makes us just look like little kids up here. She recorded this special message for us from her studio at WHYY in Philadelphia.
"5 years, huh? Suppose after 5 years, I was still all bright-eyed and optimistic. You know, kid, after 25 years in this crazy public radio game, you see a few things. And you see a side of people you sometimes wish you hadn't. don't get me started. The booze, the drugs, the crazy parties, the fundraisers. "5 years, huh? Well, you've got a lot to learn still, I guess. Yeah, congratulations. Whatever. Hope you enjoy your cake."
Thank you, Terry Gross, for that kind message. Act 3. Birthday present. There's a hotel in Salt Lake City called the Anniversary Inn. Before this building became an institution devoted to commemorating years of marriage, the building was the Salt Lake City Jail. Insert your own cheap joke here. The idea of the hotel is on an anniversary or a birthday or other big day, what we want is fantasy. There's a room with a drawbridge and a knight in armor designed to look like Sleeping Beauty's castle. There's a hayloft room and a Swiss Family Robinson treehouse and a Treasure Island suite. That one has a ship's mast and a crow's nest and sails stretching across the room. You walk the gangplank to jump into a jacuzzi. I bring all this up because I think of the Anniversary Inn as a testament to the difficulty of introspection. It's as if when a big commemorative day arrives, the notion of using that moment to look back, to take stock, to try to gain a perspective on who we've been and who we are, that notion is so inherently difficult and possibly painful that many of us, we prefer to leave reality completely. Looking back, though, can be what we need more than anything. Russell Banks has this story. He is the author of numerous books. We're honored to have him. Please welcome him.
It's about 10 p.m., and I'm one of three face-it, middle-aged guys crossing South Main Street in light snow, headed for a quick drink at the Greeks. We've just finished a 32nd degree induction ceremony at the Masonic Hall in the old Capitol Theater building and need a blow. I'm the tall figure in the middle, Warren Lowe, and I guess it's my story I'm telling, although you could say it was Gail Fortunata's story, since meeting her that night after half a lifetime is what got me started. I'm wearing remnants of makeup from the ceremony, in which I portrayed an Arab prince. Red lips, streaks of black on my face here and there, not quite washed off because of no cold cream at the hall. The guys tease me about what a terrific nigger I make. That's the way they talk. And I try to deflect their teasing by ignoring it because I'm not as prejudiced as they are, even though I'm pleased nonetheless. It's an acting job,
Welcome back.
32nd degree, and not many guys are good
You
at
should
it.
check out the game that somebody just dropped in here. They're developing this game. And anybody else who wants to fill out that form that they were talking about to change the title, I also encourage, because I don't like their current title. Their new title would be way better. Tank that. I think Clean Earth Odyssey is better than Clean Up Earth. Clean Up Earth is too active, and it sounds too much like a chore versus Clean Earth Odyssey. It's, yeah, like I said, more passive and just relaxing, more adventurous. Yay.
We are friends and businessmen, colleagues. I sell plumbing and heating supplies. My friend Sammy Gibson is in real estate, and the other, Rick Buckingham, is a Chevy dealer. We enter the Greeks, a small restaurant and fern bar, pass through the dining room into the bar and back like regulars, because we are regulars, greeting the Greek and his help. Small comforts. Sammy and Rick hit uselessly on one of the waitresses, the pretty little blonde kid, and make a crack or two about the new gay waiter who's in the far corner by the kitchen door and can't hear them. Wise guys. The Greek says to me, "What's with the grease paint?" Theater group, I tell him. He's not a Mason. I think he's Orthodox Catholic or something. But he knows what we do. As we pass one table in particular, this elderly lady in the group looks me straight in the eyes, which gets my attention because otherwise she's just some old lady. Then for a split second, I think I know her, but decide not and keep going. She's a large, baggy, bright-eyed woman in her late 70s, possibly early 80s. Old. Sammy, Rick, and I belly up to the bar, order drinks, the usuals, comment on the snow outside, and feel safe and contented in each other's company. We reflect on our wives and ex-wives and our grown kids, all elsewhere. I peek around the divider at her. Thin, silver blue hair, dewlaps at her throat, liver spots on her long, flat cheeks. What the hell, an old lady. She's with family, some kind of celebration. 2 sons, they look like, in their 40s with their wives, and a bored teenage girl. All 5 of them overweight, dull, dutiful, in contrast to the old woman, who, despite her age, looks smart, aware, all dressed up in a maroon knit wool suit. Clearly an attractive woman once. I drift from Sammy and Rick, ask the Greek, "Who's the old lady? What's the occasion?" "The old lady's 80th, says the Greek. "We should live so long, right? You know her." "No, I guess not." The waitresses and the gay waiter sing happy birthday, making a scene, but the place is almost empty anyhow from the snow, and everybody seems to like it, and the old lady smiles serenely. I say to Sammy and Rick, "I think I know the old gal from someplace, but can't remember where." "Customer," says Sammy, munching peanuts. Rick says the same, "Customer," and they go on as before. "Probably an old girlfriend," Sammy adds. "Ha ha," I say back. A Celtics-Knicks game on TV has their attention, double overtime. Finally, the Knicks win, and it's time to go home, guys. Snow's piling up. We pull on our coats, pay the bartender, and as we leave, the old lady's party is also getting ready to go. And when I pass their table, she catches my sleeve, says my name, says it with a question mark. "Warren? Warren Lowe?" I say, "Yeah, hi," and smile, but still I don't remember her. Then she says, "I'm Gail Fortunata. Warren, I knew you years ago," she says, and she smiles fondly. And then everything comes back, or almost everything. "Do you remember me?" she asks. Sure I do. Of course I do. "Gail, how have you been? Geez, it's been a while." She nods, still smiling. "What's that on your face? Makeup?" "Yeah, been doing a little theater. Didn't have any cold cream to get it all off," I say lamely. She says, "I'm glad you're still acting." And then she introduces me to her family, like that. "This is my family." "Howdy," I say, and start to introduce my friends Sammy and Rick, but they're already at the door. Sammy says, "So long, Warren. Don't do anything I wouldn't do." And Rick gives a wave, and they're out. "So it's your birthday, Gail. Happy birthday." She says, "Why, thank you." The others are all standing now, pulling on their coats, except for Gail, who still hasn't let go of my sleeve, which she tugs, and then says to me, "Sit down a minute, Warren. I haven't seen you in, 30 years. Imagine." "Ma," the son says, "it's late. The snow." I draw up a chair next to Gail, and letting go of the dumb pretenses, I suddenly find myself struggling to see in her eyes the woman I knew for a few months when I was a kid, barely 21, and she was almost 50 and married, and these 2 fat guys were her skinny teenage sons. But I can't see through the old lady's face to the woman she was then. If that woman is gone, then so is the boy, this boy. She looks up at one of her sons and says, "Dickie, you go without me. Warren will give me a ride, won't you, Warren?" she says, turning to me. "I'm staying at Dickie's house up on the Heights. That's not out of your way, is it?" "Nope, I'm up on the Heights too, Alton Woods. Just moved into a condo there." Dickie says, "Fine," a little worried. He looks like he's used to losing arguments with his mother. The Greek and his crew start cleaning up while Gail and I talk a few minutes more. Although her eyes are wet and red-rimmed, she's not teary, she's smiling. It's as if there are translucent shells over her bright blue eyes. Even so, now, when I look hard, I can glimpse her the way she was, slipping around back there in the shadows. She had heavy, dark red hair, clear white skin, smooth as porcelain, broad shoulders. And she was tall for a woman, almost as tall as I was. I remember exactly from when she and her husband once took me along with them to a VFW party, and she and I danced while he played cards. When we knew each other, Warren, I was the age you are now. Yeah, I guess that's so. Strange to think about, isn't it? Are you divorced? You look like it. Yeah, divorced. Couple of years now, kids, 3 girls, all grown up. I'm even a grandpa. It was not one of your happy marriages, not by a long shot. I don't think I want to hear about all that. Okay, what do you want to hear about? Let's have one drink and one short talk, for old time's sake, and then you may drive me to my son's home. I say fine and ask the Greek who's at the register tapping out if it's too late for a nightcap. He shrugs, why not? And Gail asks for a sherry, and I order the usual vodka and tonic. The Greek scoots back to the bar, pours the drinks himself because the bartender is wiping down the cooler, and returns and sets them down before us. On the house, he says, and goes back to counting the night's take. It's odd, isn't it, that we never ran into each other before this, she says. All these years. You came up here to Concord, and I stayed there in Portsmouth. Even after the boys left.
I look divorced.
Frank's job was there. Yeah, well, I guess 50 miles is a long
Take it as a
ways
compliment?
sometimes. How is Frank, I ask, realizing as soon as I say it that he was at least 10 years older than she, and is probably dead by now. He died. Frank died in 1982. Oh, geez. I'm sorry to hear that. I want to ask you something, Warren. I hope you won't mind if I speak personally with you.
Yeah, I know that's what you said.
No. Shoot. I take a belt from my drink. I never dared to ask you then. It would have embarrassed you then, I thought, because you were so scared of what we were doing together, so unsure of yourself. Yeah, no kidding. I was, 21? You were, well, not scary, but let's say impressive. Married, with kids, a sophisticated woman of the world, you seemed to me. And I was this apprentice plumber working on my first job, away from home, a kid. You were more than that, Warren. That's why I took to you so easily. You were very sensitive. I thought someday you'd become a famous actor. I wanted to encourage you. You did. I laugh nervously because I don't know where this conversation is going, and take another pull from my drink and say, I've done lots of acting over the years, you know, all local stuff, some of it pretty serious, no big deal. But I kept it up. I don't do much nowadays, of course. But you did encourage me, Gail, you did, and I'm truly grateful for that. She sips her sherry with pursed lips like a bird. Good, she says. Warren, were you a virgin then when you met me? Oh, geez. Well, that's quite a question, isn't it? I laugh. Is that what you've been wondering all these years? Were you the first woman I ever made love with? Wow, that's... Hey, Gail, I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before. And here we are, 30 years later. I'm smiling at her, but the air is rushing out of me. I just want to know, dear. You never said it one way or the other. We shared a big secret, but we never really talked about our own secrets. We talked about the theater, and we had our little love affair, and then you went on, and I stayed with Frank and grew older. You weren't old. As old as you are now, Warren. Yeah, but I'm not old. Well, were you? What, a virgin? You don't have to answer if it embarrasses you. I hold off a few seconds. The waitress and the new kid and the bartender have all left, and only the Greek is here, perched on a stool in the bar watching Nightline. I could tell her the truth, or I could lie, or I could beg off the question altogether. It's hard to know what's right. Finally, I say, Yes, I was. I was a virgin when I met you.
But is that
It was
true?
the first time for me, I tell her. And she sits back in her chair and looks me full in the face and smiles as if I've just given her the perfect birthday gift, the one no one else thought she wanted, the gift she never dared to ask for. It's a beautiful smile, grateful and proud, and seems to go all the way back to the day we first met. She reaches over and places her small, crackled hand on mine. She says, I never knew for sure. But whenever I think back on those days and remember how we used to meet in your room, I always pretend that for you it was the first time. I even pretended it back then when it was happening. It meant something to me. For a few moments, neither of us speaks. Then I break the spell. What do you say we shove off? They need to close this place up and the snow's coming down hard. She agrees, and I help her slide into her coat. My car is parked only halfway down the block, but it's a slow walk to it because the sidewalk is a little slippery and she's very careful. When we're in the car and moving north on Main Street, we remain silent for a while. And finally I say to her, you know, Gail, there's something I've wondered all these years myself. Is there? Yeah, but you don't have to tell me if it embarrasses you. Warren, dear, you reach a certain age, nothing embarrasses you. Yeah, well, I guess that's true. What is
Hey,
it?
Mom. How you doing?
Okay.
Hope you're well.
I wondered if, except for me, you stayed faithful to Frank and before me. No hesitation. She says, yes, I was faithful to Frank before you and after. Except for my husband, you were the only man I loved.
Aw.
I don't believe her, but I know why she has lied to me. This time it's my turn to smile and reach over and place my hand on hers. The rest of the way we don't talk, except for her giving me directions to her son's house, which is a plain brick ranch on a curving side street up by the old armory. The porch light is on, but the rest of the house is dark. It's late, I say to her. So it is. I get out and come around and help her from the car and then walk her up the path to the door. She gets her key from her purse and unlocks the door and turns around and looks up at me. She's not as tall as she used to be. I'm very happy that we saw each other tonight, she says. We probably won't see each other again. Well, we can, if you want to. You're still a very sweet man, Warren. I'm glad of that. I wasn't wrong about you. I don't know what to say. I want to kiss her, though, and I do. I lean down and put my arms around her and kiss her on the lips very gently, then a little more, and she kisses me back with just enough pressure against me to let me know that she is remembering everything too. We hold each other like that for a long time. Then I step away and she turns, opens the door, and takes one last look back at me. She smiles. You've still got makeup on, she says. What's the play? I forgot to ask. Oh, I say, thinking fast, because I'm remembering that she's Catholic and probably doesn't think much of the Masons. Othello, I say. That's nice. And you're the Moor? Yes. Still smiling, she gives me a slow pushing wave with her hand as if dismissing me and goes inside.
Go home from work.
Driving home is all I can do to keep from crying.
No.
Time's come, time's gone, time's never returning, I say to myself. What's here in front of me is all I've got, I decide. And as I drive my car through the blowing snow, it doesn't seem like much, except for the kindness that I've just exchanged with an old lady. So I concentrate on that. Thank you.
Good story.
Russell Banks, his story, The Moor, is published in his latest collection of short fiction, The Angel on the Roof. Well, our program is produced today by Julie Snyder and myself, with Todd Bachman, Starley Kine, Alex Bloomberg, Bruce Chevany, and Jonathan Goldstein. Contributing editors Paul Tuff, Jack Hitt, Margie Rocco, Elise Spiegel, Nancy Updike, and Consul Yuri Saraval. Elizabeth Meister runs our website. Production help from Aaron Yankee. OK Go. Damian Kulash, the cynical one. Tim Nordwind, the happy one. Dan Kanapka, the solid one. Andrew Duncan, the quiet George Harrison type. Thanks to Joe Seehey and Bill O'Brock, Rachel Day and Jay Woodruff, Amanda Gibson, Jennifer Farrow, and Anahit Olani. Special thanks to WBUR, WNYC, WBEZ, and KCRW, and to the stage crews at all 4 of our shows. Sound engineering in various cities by Dan Glomsky, Bob Carlson, Mary Gaffney, Dennis Foley, Larry Jacobson, and the Radio Foundation, Stephen Jacobs, and the great Miles Smith. You can listen to our programs for free on the internet at our website, www.thislife.org. This American Life is distributed by Public Radio International. WBEZ management oversight by Tori Malatia, who says to us at the end of each and every show,
Yeah, congratulations. Whatever.
I'm Ira Glass, back next week with more stories of This American Life. Additional funding for our program from Volkswagen. When you get into a Volkswagen, it gets into you. And at our website this week, we held a contest for listeners to remix, reform, or reimagine Starley Kine's breakup song from a few months back. Well, the polls have closed, the votes are in, the ballots are counted. The winners are now at thisamericanlife.org for your listening heartbreak pleasure.
We doing Final Thursday today? By we, I mean you. Oh wait, is it Thursday?
Public Radio
No, it's Wednesday.
International.
Oh my goodness. The days, the days. Yep. It's Retro Wednesday. Maybe a little Raptar. Final Thursday moved to Friday. No, true. That is true. I forgot. I'm sorry. Hey, BJ. How you doing, hustler? Good friend, good pal, good buddy of mine. You're back. Yeah. And I am wrapping up. As soon as this is over, I got to go. I got to go. 99% done. It's always the last percent. It's always the last percent. Gotta catch you. Hey, my pleasure. Putting aside Pete Snow, everyone's schedule. Yeah, well, I try. My best. Left. There's at least 4 items left. Got her. There's here. Driveway edges, window frames, window. Frame. That's one. trim. There's trim. Bottom thing. It's still frame. Window trim. Window this. Frame. Window trim. Oh, not window trim, wooden trim. Ugh. Yeah, that's kind of different. This one, no. This. I'll find it. Oh no, where is it? Where is it? Dang it. Just IRL some dude bouncing on the roof falling off. Yeah, that would be a little dangerous. Oh my god, where is this wooden trim? Shell wooden trim. Wooden trim. These are wooden trims. What about these? Door. No door frame. Wooden trim. Oh, right. Okay. Ah, and driveway edges. Please? Yeah. Hey, we're done. Woohoo! What time is it? Ooh, I'm late. Well, I counted being late in it, so that's fine. Wow, it is pouring hard. Ugh. All right, anybody up? Anybody starting up their stream? That's all. Kind of cross my fingers here. No. No. Nobody's streaming. All right. Well, it was my pleasure streaming for all of you. Not for another hour and a bit. Yeah, that's fair. Let's go see... Do I know anybody? From not the XP community. Dun dun dun. Who we got? Blizzard Alamo. I'm gonna go see. Ooh, somebody's playing Spirit Tracks. I love Spirit Tracks. We're gonna go see them. I don't know much about them, but they're playing Spirit Tracks, which is an amazing game, so it's gotta be good. I love Spirit Tracks. So their name is Mademoiselle Tina, or Miss Tina. She speaks English and French, and she streams retro games. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that they're cool. Yeah. So let's see. Do I have a good raid message? Let's see. What would be a good raid message? Raid. Good luck with the Zelda. Zelda. May the Triforce be with you. There you go. There. That'll be good enough. Have a good day, everybody. We'll talk to each other soon. I was so convinced today I was going to be doing some Krabby. Nope, got too involved in all these podcasts. I'm just so good sometimes, eh? All right, have a wonderful day. My next stream is let's see, Wednesday, probably tomorrow. Yeah, I don't think I have plans tomorrow during the day. Calendar double checking. Nope, no plans tomorrow during the day specifically. Cool. So, yay. Have a great day. Bye. See you then.